got 15 of the most upvoted best of Redditor update stories for you guys today for the month of April. As you guys know, this is a series I do on my channel where I collect the best stories chosen by Reddit for the month and then put them all in one video for you. Now, if you're a frequent viewer of my videos, there will be repeat stories. That's just the nature of the series. But there are 5 brand new stories that haven't been in any other videos, as well as 2 new updates to previous stories that I've read on my channel. And just to tease you guys a little bit on some of those stories, we have I am days away from giving birth and my boyfriend just decided to tell me that he can't be at the birth because he's married. We also have my husband's childhood best friend asked me for a favor, then humiliated me in front of her family. I'm done being the bigger person. And finally, we have a 1-year new update on a story I read on my channel literally a year ago. My husband of 20 years is cheating on me with our son's 18-year-old girlfriend. You absolutely do not want to miss this one. This one is insane. As always, guys, everything is timestamped below, so feel free to hop around to the new stories or the new updates as you see fit. Thank you guys for another record-breaking month on my channel. I appreciate you all so much. Let's lock in here and read some Reddit. My younger brother has been acting strangely possessive of me and is accusing me of being jealous of his girlfriend when I confront him about it. Original post, August 26th, 2015. My brother and I have always been close. Growing up, we were each other's best friends. We've been through a lot of stuff. Our parents' divorce, death of a few family members, even a devastating house fire when we were little. Even though we're both adults now, we still really rely on and trust each other. After graduating high school, I went to college in a different state. I felt really bad for leaving my brother behind, but other than our parents being divorced, our home life had always been great. He was still rather upset with the fact that I was leaving and that I didn't want to stay home to be with him. I felt and still feel like it was a little unreasonable for him to react that way. I promised that I would call and visit as frequently as possible. When my brother graduated from high school, he asked if he could come live with me. It wasn't too strange for him to ask. We lived in a small town and the place I moved was a bigger and more interesting city. Since he had decided not to go straight to college, it seemed like moving to the city with me was his only chance to get out of our hometown. I told him that we could look for a new place when my lease was up. I lived in a studio apartment and wasn't about to share that tiny space with an 18-year-old boy. Ultimately, we found a reasonable 2-bedroom and moved into it right before my classes started. Things were a little weird right off the bat. He got very upset when he found out that I had been casually dating. It seemed like he was upset that I hadn't told him. He was mad that we were drifting apart so far that I wouldn't tell him that I was dating, even if I wasn't in a committed relationship or anything. Then he asked me if I could refrain from bringing guys over to our home. When I asked him why, he said it made him uncomfortable. I told him I could respect that while I was just casually dating guys, but if I got into a relationship, I would certainly be bringing my boyfriend over. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, he told me. Like, this gave not necessarily war flashbacks, but I totally forgot my first girlfriend in college, the one that I literally lost my virginity to, her brother lived with her.
Wait, is this fucking play about us?
It wasn't awkward, but it was a little awkward. Like I was like staying over and shit. Don't get me wrong, brothers should definitely be cool about it and all that stuff, but still, I do feel like it is a little weird. Me and my sisters, I'm like, yo, girl, you get your nut. I hella respect my sisters fucking doing their thing. Do I want to be in a room next to them while it's happening? Not at all. Oh my God, you guys, I fucking forgot about that. That was like lodged into the back of my mind. Little extra Sarby lore for you guys today. Well, we got to that bridge. I had a new boyfriend and decided to confront my brother about having him over. I hadn't told my boyfriend why I insisted that we always hang out at his apartment and he didn't ask. We got into a huge screaming fight where my brother basically told me that college guys only want sex and that I should be focusing on school. I couldn't believe this was happening. When I told him that I was an adult and would do what I wanted, he reminded me that he paid rent and had input into what went on in his home. We compromised that my boyfriend could come over but wouldn't stay overnight. I told him that solution would work for the time being, but we would need to reassess. Again, he told me we would cross that bridge when we came to it. Listen, like I said, guys, is it a little weird to know that your sibling is getting taken to Pound Town in the room next to yours? Yes. But you chose to live with her, and this is what adults do, bro. This is what your sibling is gonna do, whether they live with you or not. In my opinion, if you're living with your family member, you guys are adults, obviously you're gonna date. As long as you can't hear anything, we're good. We are A-okay. If they were being obnoxiously loud, yeah, totally would maybe kind of understand the brother's point of view, but clearly it's not that. It's like a control thing. He doesn't want his sister getting his nut. Gotta say, that's pretty disrespectful. Real siblings support their siblings getting their nut. After having the same argument 2 or 3 times, I told my brother that if he wasn't willing to stop being weird about this, I wasn't going to be living with him once the lease was up. He apologized profusely, but continued to insist that he was right in this situation. Finally, he told me he would let me make my own mistakes. Unfortunately, things didn't go well with that boyfriend. We broke up for reasons unrelated to my brother. Of course, my brother took advantage of this to tell me that he was right and that I should have listened to him. Around that time, I called my mom and told her about how weird he was being. She insisted that he was trying to take the place of our father, since he hadn't really been involved in our lives since they were divorced. Even if that is true, I still don't feel like it justifies his behavior. Over the summer, a friend of mine was getting married, so I was out of town for the wedding. When I came home, a bunch of my stuff was missing. Stuff like my perfume, some clothes, and lotion. I asked my brother about it, but he denied taking any of it. He told me that he'd had some friends over, so they must have taken my stuff. He told me that he would deal with it and get my stuff back. He did eventually bring my stuff to me, but I'm not totally convinced that his friends took it. After all, he didn't seem at all upset about them having stolen things from me. About a month ago, he told me that he had a girlfriend and that he wanted to bring her over to meet me. I briefly considered making a big stink about it like he had with my ex, but I decided to be an adult and told him that would be great. He scheduled a big dinner and cooked and asked me to dress up and everything. I was kind of relieved that he had someone he was so interested in because maybe he would be less weird than he had been. When this girl showed up though, he was in the kitchen when she arrived, so I answered the door. And it was like looking in a mirror. I could tell that she was just as alarmed as I was at how much we looked alike. We both have platinum blonde hair, fair skin, green eyes, and similarly shaped bodies. We're also approximately the same height. During dinner, we discovered that we also have lots of other things in common. She goes to a different college nearby, but has the same major that I do. We also like a lot of the same music and share a lot of mannerisms. Sweet home Alabama. Oh my God. Ew. I just gotta keep reading. After she left, I asked my brother if he had noticed how much she and I look alike. He rolled his eyes and told me that I was just being weird. I don't know if I am. He brings her over all the time. They make out in the living room on the couch. When I asked him if they could take it to his room, he accused me of being jealous that he wasn't making out with me, which was confusing to both his girlfriend and myself. At that moment, it kind of started to seem like he was trying to make me jealous with her. That's a really fucking weird thing to say to your sibling. You know what, chat? That's a hill I'm willing to die on. If you've ever said that to your sibling, you need help. I'm planting my flag on that one, and that flag is red. I wouldn't think too much of it if he hadn't been acting so strange since we moved in together. I can't tell if I'm just imagining things or not. I don't want to feel like my little brother has a crush on me, especially since we live together. I also don't know how to talk about it with him without him just saying that I'm being crazy or jealous or whatever. Please help me. Girl, you gotta get out of there. Not saying that we should, but let's just assume that this man isn't weird as fuck and probably is in love with his sister. Let's assume that's out the window. It's not, but let's just assume he's taking up the fatherly role. You still don't want to live with that. The best part about me being in college was that I didn't fucking live with my parents. Love Kathy, love Scotty boy. They've done a lot for me. If I did live with them, it wouldn't be the end of the world. That being said, it was awesome being able to bring girls to my place that I lived in and not have a fatherly figure get mad when I had them over. But I would put money on the fact that this is weird. He probably is in love with you and you need to get out. Honestly, chat, I'm like, don't even wait for the lease to be over. This is icky and probably a little unsafe. I think you need to seriously consider breaking this lease and getting out of there and going low contact with him. This is extremely weird. Damn, that poor girlfriend though. Like, can you imagine, like, you're like, oh, I met this really great guy. He's so awesome. And then like slowly you're like, oh, he's just using me to make his sister jealous. Like, I would need so much therapy, an astronomical amount of therapy. I should make a drinking game. Every time OP gives you the ick, take a shot. We would be absolutely blasted by the end of stream. I want to hear the brother's point of view so bad. I need to know how he would justify this. No, for real. Like, is he delusional about it? Or is he like, nah, bro, I'm so fucking into my sister. Y'all, what if the update is, I realize I'm in love with my brother? No, please no. Relevant comments. Move out ASAP. Also try to get him into counseling. He obviously has an unhealthy obsession with you, but it doesn't sound like he's very approachable about it. Do you have a lock for your door? You should lock your door when you're out so he can't get in and take your things. He is completely inappropriate. OP, I do have a lock for my door. It never occurred to me before that I should have to lock it when I left the apartment. This sucks. Someone replied to that comment saying, you should probably also lock it while you're asleep. I don't want to jump to your brother, might wake you up one night trying to climb into your bed. But my first thought when you said he took your stuff was that he either used it for wanking or made his girlfriend wear your clothes while they banged. It's not impossible, so be careful. Oh God, I didn't even think of that. That's ew. Yeah, I definitely washed the clothes as soon as I got them back. But if that's what he was doing, maybe burning them would have been a better route. I think that's the safe route. Update 1, August 30th, 2015, 4 days later. So I met up with my future roommate to tell her that I had officially decided to not live with my brother anymore. I gave her a full rundown of everything that had happened between the two of us. We've made appointments to tour some houses and apartments this week. She also said that I'm welcome to move into her place if I don't feel like I can ride out the lease. W future roommate, doing the Lord's work over here. On Friday night, my brother had his girlfriend over and they were watching movies in the living room. It had been recommended to me that I approach him about it while she was around because he would be less likely to fly off the handle. Just in case, I packed a bag full of valuable things and stuff I would need if I had to book it immediately. They finished one of the movies they had been watching. He went into the kitchen to get them some more snacks and his girlfriend was still in the living room, so I figured this would be a good time. This way we weren't airing all of our dirty laundry in front of her, but she would be there if he started yelling or anything. I asked him if he could talk for a second. He seemed a little irritated, probably because I was interrupting his date, but said it was fine. I told him that it felt like we didn't make very compatible roommates and that I wouldn't be renewing the lease with him for the next month. When he asked why, I told him that I felt like he didn't respect me as a roommate. I wanted to live somewhere with a person who would let me make the calls on who was or wasn't allowed to be in my house. I wanted to live with someone who gave a shit if their friends were stealing from me. He told me that he respected me more than anyone else I could live with. He said that it's because he respects me so much that he gave me a hard time about the boyfriend thing. I said that if he really respected me, he would give me the room to decide if a boyfriend was good for me or not. Around that time, he started getting louder and angrier, so his girlfriend came in to check and see if things were cool. He told her that things were fine and that she should probably go. I panicked and tried to play it off a little. I said stuff like, oh no, don't let me ruin your evening. Please stay, I'm about to leave. He kept telling her to go before I finally was begging for her to please stay. He could tell that I was kind of scared and started laughing at me. He asked if I was afraid of him and told me that I was being ridiculous. He asked his girlfriend if she thought that there was any good reason for me to be afraid of him. She seemed really worried or confused and told him he was being weird. He explained that I had just told him that I was bailing on him as a roommate and that I was being a horrible C word about things that weren't a big deal. He asked his girlfriend to leave again, and she did. Once she was gone, he told me that I was just pissed that he wasn't going to let me be a huge slut like I wanted to be. He told me that someday I would meet the perfect guy for me, but he wouldn't want to date me because I would have sex with so many guys and nobody worthwhile wants to marry a skank. He said that he was trying to help me so that I wouldn't wind up in that situation. I told him that I was going to leave and that we could talk again whenever he was ready to talk without saying horrible things to me, but that I was going to be giving our landlord notice by Monday. I went into my room and got my bag. I locked my door behind me and headed to the door. When I was almost to the front door, he appeared almost right behind me and said my name. I turned around very quickly and as I did, he punched me right in the face. He didn't knock me out or anything, but I collapsed on the floor. Without saying anything else, he stepped over me and went out the door, leaving me there. I iced my eye for a while, which is now pretty swollen and purple, before I grabbed my bag and left. I called my mom and talked on the phone with her while I walked to my car so that if he approached me, she would hear what happened. She insisted that I was exaggerating about what he had done, so I sent her a picture of my face. She started crying and apologized for being dismissive. I told her that it was okay, but I didn't want to be forced to spend time with him in any family situations ever again. I haven't seen him since then. I've been staying with my new roommate. I've gotten a few texts from him, but I haven't responded yet. Here's what they say. Text 1, where did you go? I came home and now you're gone. We have to finish talking about this. Text 2, are you fucking kidding me? Tell me where you are or that you're alive. I'm scared that I haven't heard from you. You know how worried I am when you fall off the face of the earth like this. Text 3, you're being such a child right now. Text 4, I don't know what you said to mom, but you've really upset her. I hope you're happy. Text 5, I'll be home all day Monday. If you want to come over and meet with the landlord to give notice, that's fine. Text 6, where am I going to live? His girlfriend even texted me once to tell me how worried he is about me. Dude, I'm fucking worried for this girlfriend. You gotta fucking show her what he did. Like ASAP. Send that picture, bro. She needs to know if he hasn't been doing this already to her. I'm a little nervous about tomorrow. As I said, I haven't texted him back about joining him tomorrow. I told my new roommate that I need her to come with me. She suggested that I not wear any makeup so he can see the reality of what he did to my face. I don't know. What do y'all think? I think this is a bad move. Like, do you have to go see him again? Like, can't you just give your landlord notice without him also having to be there? Like, don't get me wrong, having someone with you is smart. I'm not trying to be sexist here. I think it's safer to go with a man, like man versus man, a little safer in my opinion. Like, if OP has a man friend to go with her, I think she should take them. Shit, man, that's fucking terrifying. I'm like, dude, don't see this brother until like you absolutely have to, like while you're moving out. This man has proven that he's dangerous and will do shit to you. Honestly, too, like I would file a police report. Even if you don't press charges, it's good to have that documentation there. And then I already said it, but you need to tell his girlfriend ASAP. Tell all the people in his life, because that is fucked up, bro. A man like that would definitely be more afraid of a man. That's kind of how I feel too, Lesbian Wolf. If I have a daughter, bro, like I really want to like raise her doing shit to know how to like kick dudes' asses when needed. She could have the cops escort her, you're right. Which is also just more important for her to file a police report. The mom hasn't impressed me this entire story. I don't know if we have enough info to blame her, but I would venture to guess that her parenting probably encouraged this. All right, we got more relevant comments. OOP when told to file a police report. I'm currently on hold with the police department. If they need me to come into the station in order to fill out the report, I'll do that first thing in the morning. All right, well, at least she's filing a police report. When told to contact the brother's girlfriend, I just sent her a text message to ask if she was with him. For some reason, I feel like engaging in this with her while they're together might put her in a bad situation. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd like to think that I can trust my gut on this one. Okay, no, actually, I agree with that. I think that is probably going to put her in a bad situation if the brother is there. And then OP added this edit. I'm going to the police station with my roommate to file a report. I'm also trying to get in touch with his girlfriend to let her know what's going on. I haven't decided whether or not I should tell her that I'm going to the police with this. I emailed the landlord to make sure that he knows I'm putting in a notice, but don't want to meet to sign the paperwork if I have to meet with my brother. I haven't contacted my brother at all yet. I'm also thinking about calling my dad. He isn't super active in my life, but since my mom's turned out to be less than helpful in this situation, I'd like to have a family member on my side if I can. If he's not super active in your life, like what is he gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Shit, bro, you might have to drop the whole family. They fucking suck. Final update, August 31st, 2015, one day after the first update. Last night, my roommate and I went to the police station and filed a police report. I recounted to them all the weird things that happened with my brother in the past year that we've lived together. I told them that his girlfriend was a witness to the argument and showed them the text conversation with my mother. They also took pictures of my face in its current state, since my face is obviously more evidently bruised than in the picture I sent to my mom. I couldn't think of a whole lot of questions to ask at the time. I was very nervous and a little overwhelmed, and they didn't provide me with a whole lot of information. They gave me a copy of the report and told me that a detective was being assigned to my case and would call me sometime today. I don't know if they're going to be making an arrest or not. I think that they automatically have to in my state when this kind of report is filed, but I'm not sure. I feel really stupid for not thinking to ask such a basic question, but I also feel like it's kind of weird that they didn't offer that information. They did tell me that they would be happy to escort me to the apartment to collect my belongings if I felt that was necessary. Yes, 100%. His girlfriend called me a few times while I was at the police station, but I was obviously busy and couldn't take her calls. I texted her when I was done and asked if it was too late for me to call. She was still up, so I called and told her about what happened when she left. She immediately started apologizing. I assured her that what happened wasn't her fault. I asked if he had ever done anything like that to her. She said no. I hope she was being honest. I didn't mention to her that I had gone to the police. I just said that I wanted to let her know for her own safety. She thanked me and apologized some more. She didn't say what her next steps were going to be, but I told her that I would be checking in to make sure she was doing okay, which she said she would appreciate. This morning, I called our dad. I haven't talked to my dad since Father's Day. He's remarried and has a few younger children with his new wife. He's definitely one of those remarried dads who ignores his old family in favor of his new one. I wasn't anticipating much sympathy from him, but he really surprised me. He told me that based on some of my brother's behavior from his childhood, violent tendencies towards other kids at school around the time of the divorce, which I had never heard about from anyone until that moment, the whole thing didn't especially shock him. Dad's fairly well off financially and offered to get me a lawyer if I thought I needed one. He highly advised I at least meet with a lawyer to get a professional legal opinion on where to go from here. I took his offer and am meeting with a lawyer in my city tomorrow when I get off of work. My brother cannot afford a lawyer on his own, and my mother cannot afford to help him financially. having a lawyer is definitely an advantage to me. Rare absent dad W. I guess I'm fucking eating my words about not contacting him, but you know what? OP gets a free lawyer out of it. Thank you all for giving me the kick in the ass I needed to go to the police. I still haven't contacted my brother, and I think I'll refrain from doing so until after the meeting with the lawyer tomorrow. My mom has sent me a few text messages asking why I haven't been in touch with my brother. I haven't responded to those either. Yeah, bro, fuck it. Why haven't I been talking to my brother? Because he punched me and probably wants to fuck me. Just drop the whole family, sis. Like, God, what is this from? 2015? I hope OP is okay. My friend invited my ex-husband to her wedding, so I had to leave. Originally posted to Charlotte Dobray's YouTube subreddit, March 25th, 2025. I, 37 female, left my husband Darren, 37 male, 2 years ago when our eldest daughter, now 19, came out and he physically attacked her for it. We have 4 children and I have sole custody over the 3 who are young enough to be covered by custody agreements, which Darren has tried to fight me over for the past 2 years. But when you have a criminal record for beating up one child, the courts are unlikely to give you custody over the others. Darren and I were in the same friendship group since primary school, but my friends told me they had all cut contact with him. Yeah, Jesus, that man should not be having kids. What the fuck? WOP for leaving that shit bag. I went to my friend Rachel's wedding, 37 female, this weekend when I spotted him at the ceremony. Because it's a wedding and an important day for my friend, I chose not to acknowledge his existence. It was a big wedding anyway, so I thought I could just avoid him and have a conversation with Rachel about his presence at a later date because she deserved to enjoy her day. However, when I was looking at the seating plan for the reception, I saw both of our names, one after the other. Rachel had put our group, including Darren, at the same table. My 2 other friends from this group convinced me to take my seat because we hardly get to see each other anymore, promising they had no idea why Darren was invited and vowing to make him regret being born if any drama started. Darren sat next to me, greeted me with a "Hey babe," as if we were still together, and I could not cope with being in his presence. Ew? Yo, what the fuck? First off, what the fuck here? But second, putting them at the table? Double what the fuck? Listen, bro, I get this, like, you know, it's Rachel's big day. Let's make sure that she has a good wedding. But when that bitch puts you at the same table, that's when you ruin it. I'm all for everybody having their wedding day, but don't fuck around on your wedding day if you don't expect to find out too. Like, no way you're gonna fuck around like that. I would have broken like a wine glass on his head and left. I'm usually not pro ruin someone's wedding, but this case, I will make an exception. All I could think about was desperately trying to restrain him while my second eldest called the police. I downed my glass of Prosecco and walked to my hotel. Yesterday, okay, wait, hold on. Where are the friends that promised they would make him regret being born if any drama started? Hey, bro, I don't know if you know this, but him walking in and saying, "Hey, babe," is starting some drama. Honestly, L friends. He should have said that, and one of them should have just been like, bah, 1-2 for the abuser. Yeah, I'm here for it, honestly. Usually not pro-violence, but this time. Yesterday, I got a message from Rachel saying that her mom asked her to invite Darren, and Rachel said yes because her parents were paying for most of the wedding. Rachel's okay, this is, I gotta get this one off my chest because I've been talking to some people about wedding shit. If you're paying for your child's wedding, it shouldn't be, "I'm paying for your wedding so I have a say in your wedding." It should be, "I, against your consent, brought you into this world and want to support the happiest day of your life that gets to go exactly how you want it to go." I don't know what entitled ass parent needs to hear that, but that's how it needs to be. You say, "Here's your money, do whatever is necessary for you to have the best day possible for you and the person that you're about to spend the rest of your life with." There should be no, "Oh, well, I'm paying for the wedding, so I get to invite people." Nah, bro, let's fucking chop that shit at the knees right now. That is some dog shit ass idea to have about someone's wedding. But I also have to say, Rachel, that's kind of on you to enforce. You know what Darren did. You should be like, "Hey, mom, we're not inviting Darren because he literally beat his child for being gay." Or I guess coming out. I guess there's multiple ways to come out. You guys know what I mean. I'm not giving Rachel an excuse. That's a fucking shitty excuse. Both shitty Rachel's mom, but also shitty Rachel. Rachel's mom is Darren's godmother. I asked her about the seating plan, and again, she said that was her mom's doing because she was adamant that there was a potential for us to get back together. She apologized for not telling me, saying that she thought I wouldn't go if I knew, which is true. I wouldn't have come. I have not replied to that message and I don't plan to. As much as I don't want to give up on an over 3-decade-long friendship, I can't get past this. Yeah, bro, drop her. Fuck her. That is insane. That is an insane position to put somebody who you've been in a 3-decade-long friendship with. So what? Rachel basically chose Darren over OP. She invited him to her wedding, sat her next to OP, and never gave OP the heads up because she didn't want her to not come to the wedding, which said wedding has the presence of her abuser. Disgusting behavior. Drop her ASAP, Rocky. Yeah, I would have thrown hands, bro. I would have ruined that whole fucking wedding. That's like an everyone sucks here but OP. Literally everybody did everything wrong except OP. We got a couple of OP's comments here. Fuck any friends who convinced her to stay and actually sit at the table. Why the fuck didn't any of them at least offer to swap seats so she didn't have to sit next to the piece of shit that she should probably have a restraining order against? OP, thank you. My eldest has a restraining order, but because his actions were towards her and not myself, I don't really have the evidence to be granted one in the UK. Commenter, I assume since Rachel's from the friend group that she knows what he did. I also assume because you've been friends for 30 years that she knows your children. If these two facts are true, then she needed to protect you. This was unforgivable. OP, yeah, my children call her their auntie, and she and her husband helped me pack up our lives after what he did. I still can't wrap my head around why she didn't even warn me. How are you gonna help them and then fucking blindside OP like that? Wow. OP on her reaction, I was very mindful of the fact that my ex is still trying to drag me through the courts for access to my 3 younger children, and if I reacted how I wanted to, it could be brought up further down the road. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been so quiet. Oh, I didn't realize that was still happening. Did she say that? I get it. All right, maybe not go nuclear. But even, honestly, even bigger reason that the friends should have gone nuclear, bro. Ayo, you can't have a case, but I can. Commenter, you are a badass, and I hope to be the type of mom you are. You did the right thing. You respected your friend's wedding. Your friend and her mother disrespected you and your kid. Also, the suggestion you would rekindle something with the asshole who assaulted your kid for coming out makes me seriously concerned about being around these people at all. If your friend was your friend, she would have said, no, that isn't going to happen. He's a piece of shit. End of story. Sorry you had such a shit experience. Sorry your kid's coming out was traumatic instead of the celebration it should have been. But you are amazing, and I hope you are surrounded by people who see and support how great you are. OP replied, thank you so much. I can't believe I wasted so much time on this man. I'm just so grateful that my children weren't there. Looking back, I'm thinking that his presence is why they weren't invited. My eldest has a restraining order against him. Yeah, wait, then that's like super premeditated. If your kids weren't invited, they probably fucking knew that he was there and it was like all planned out. That's fucking crazy. There was another comment 7 hours later. You might need to warn your oldest of what happened in case your ex-friends try and contact them over you going no contact. OP, we had a conversation with her when I got home and she has blocked Rachel and her husband. Yes, 100%. OP should follow suit. Rachel is not it. Fuck Rachel. All my homies hate Rachel. Sorry if your name is Rachel. You know which one we're talking about. Update March 26, 2025, the next day / 35 hours later. Before I get into the update, I noticed a couple of comments pointing out my mistake with sole custody, and I'm just grateful that I have a solicitor for custody stuff because if I make a mistake, it doesn't come up with a wiggly red line under it. I will not pick up on it. Anyway, I did not reply to Rachel and just blocked her, but her husband called me yesterday. He apologized, but then went on about how hard this is for Rachel and how she feels that the day was tainted for her. Okay, bitch, that's your fault. What do you mean? Oh, wee woo, my day was tainted. Yeah, because you invited an abuser to your wedding and then put him next to the person he abused. Newsflash, honey, that is your fault. Oh, wee fucking woo. Cry me a river, bro. I don't give a fuck. That's on you. The audacity of that line. Deep throat a Glock worthy, bro. I can't believe that. I told him that how she sees her day is not my responsibility, and I ended up blocking him as well. I talked to one of the members of the friend group and he apologized for convincing me to even sit down at the table. He said he thought more about wanting to have the group back together than how it would affect me. He then told me about how Darren told Rachel's family members who asked where I was that me seeing him reminded him too much about our son who died 2 years ago and I had to leave. He was referring to my daughter, who is a very much alive trans woman. Apparently, no one in the group attempted to correct him, so I have just removed myself from our group chats, and I'm going to try to make better friends. Yes, agreed. 100%. Fuck these friends. Also, thank you to the people who wish my daughter well. She wanted me to say that she really appreciates it, and she is starting to thrive despite the mentally scarring and tinnitus her sorry excuse of a father gave her. I could not be prouder of how far she has come in her journey, and in September, she will be the first person in my family to go to university. She is taking a page out of the Petty Queen's book and getting her revenge with a life well lived. Fuck yeah, as you should, Queen. Commenter said, what do you you think your other kids think why they can't see their dad? OP responded, my second eldest saw what he did and the younger two saw the state he left their sister in. They were 7, 8, and 11 at the time, so they were old enough to be aware of the situation. They do talk about missing having a dad sometimes, but they don't feel safe around him, and my second eldest is petrified of him. Commenter said, that's horrifying. I grew up witnessing violence in my home, and that stays with a person. Have you considered counseling for the family? OP replied, I am so sorry you had to go through that. They're all in individual therapy through the NHS and their schools, but I will try to get us a referral for family counseling. I don't get it, bro. I'll never understand it. It ain't that serious. Somebody deciding that they want to be the opposite gender of what they were born with, there is no justification for assaulting them because of that. You are just a shitty fucking human being if that's your reaction. My fiance made a split-second decision that has cost me a year of my life, and I'm furious. Originally posted r/true off my chest on April 4th, 2025. I, 26 female, my fiance, 30 male, and his son, 5 years old, were out getting Chipotle on March 14th. On the way home, we reached a busy intersection with a blinking yellow light. My fiance was driving, and I could tell he was about to go. I saw a car coming fast, and I very clearly told him to wait until the light was green. I don't know if he didn't hear me, didn't take me seriously, or just ignored me, but he kept driving forward anyway. And we got T-boned by a car going 50 miles per hour. Everyone else walked away fine, including his son, thank God, but I was crushed. I ended up with 2 full breaks in my pelvis, 2 fractures in my tailbone, fractures in my L4 and L5 vertebrae, and a fractured sternum. I was and still am in so much pain I can't even explain it. I wouldn't wish this kind of pain on anyone. I was rushed to the ER where everything was a complete blur except the trauma. I started having intense flashbacks, panic attacks, and nightmares about the crash and the pain. I had to undergo surgery where 2 7-inch steel screws were inserted into my pelvis. At the hospital, they gave me a back brace that was way too big for me. The nurses and PTs even admitted they didn't measure and just guessed my size. Even when we told them it was too big, they didn't do anything about it. And despite this, they expected me to stand up and move around wearing it. That brace did nothing for support. Moving in it felt like my spine and pelvis were being ripped apart. The pain I was in, trying to follow their orders to stand and walk, was inhumane. All I remember from those days is pain, frustration, fear, and this overwhelming sense of helplessness. Girl, that sounds like a whole ass fucking lawsuit. Get a good lawyer and sue that hospital, because holy shit. After about a week, I was transferred to a physical rehabilitation center. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to bathe. I didn't want to move. I was so depressed and in so much pain that even thinking about shifting in bed made me cry. I had to depend on strangers for the most basic things, going to the bathroom, bathing, even feeding myself. As someone who's always been independent, it was utterly humiliating and devastating. I'm home now, but my recovery is far from over. Doctors and physical therapists all told me the same thing. You have the second worst kind of break anyone can experience. You'll need at least a year to recover, if not longer. You can't put weight on your right leg for 3 months. No bending, no twisting, and even after 3 months, it'll be a very slow process. And that's the part that's eating me alive, because before this, I was finally getting my life together. I was working on my health. I was eating right, doing CrossFit regularly, getting stronger, and finally meeting people and socializing. I had just gone back to college. I was finally building structure into my life after being recently diagnosed with ADHD. And now, it's all on hold. I can't work out. I can't leave the house unless it's for a doctor's appointment. I can't do anything by myself. And it feels like I've lost everything I was working so hard to build. And even though my fiance has been supportive through all of this and is helping take care of me, I'm so angry at him. I told him, I warned him, I said, don't go, wait. And when I asked him why he kept going, he just said, I don't know. And that I don't know is now costing me an entire year of my life, maybe more. And I'm the one who's paying for it every single day. So yeah, I just needed to get this off my chest. I feel trapped in my own body. I feel like I'm grieving the life I could have had this year. I feel angry, sad, helpless, and I'm just trying to make sense of it all. But mostly, I just want my life back. I know this is temporary. I know I'll eventually recover, but losing a year of my life, my sense of normalcy, and my peace of mind is really, really rough. If anyone has any advice on how I can work on this, or maybe even share their own experiences similar to this one, I'd greatly appreciate it. My fiance has been supportive through all this and is helping take care of me. I really want to know if he's showing remorse. I understand people make mistakes. Like, that is inherently something that humans do. If you expect humans to be perfect 24/7 and to not have wrong opinions, make wrong decisions, you are just wrong as a person. He made a big fucky wucky. I am not trying to diminish that, but like, bad things are going to happen and people are going to suffer consequences from other people's actions. Like, that is something that happens. But my decision on if I should be even more mad at the husband and if OP should be even more mad is he showing remorse? I think my answer here is if you're trying to salvage the marriage, if you're trying not to go this year and possibly longer with that resentment, that anger, that sadness, and the feelings of blame towards the husband, which he deserves, don't get me wrong, I think the move is individual therapy and couples therapy. Hire one therapist to come over and just do therapy sessions with you so that you can work through your emotions and this really, really tough time. But then also a couples therapist to, like, honestly confront the fiance. I think the answer, I don't know, is not good enough. It really is not. Like, I don't think I would want to be married to someone who fucked up so hard that I am now going to have to recover for a year and maybe even longer. And I'm now going through this like insane, painful period of my life. The answer, I don't know, is not good enough. We need to like work through the feelings here. If this engagement, I might have said marriage a couple times, my bad. If this engagement is going to work, we need to talk about this. Otherwise, like, that anger, that sadness, that resentment that OP is feeling is only going to grow. And at a certain point, it's going to grow to a point of no coming back. If it hasn't gotten there already, I think if there's any chance that they continue this engagement, they got to get in therapy ASAP. But like, also, if he's not showing remorse, the husband needs to show remorse. He needs to take accountability. Yeah, sorry guys. That's what I kind of meant too by like showing remorse. I feel like with remorse is like the accountability aspect. I maybe didn't say that. Couple of relevant / top comments. Was everyone in the car wearing seatbelts? OOP said yes, everyone was wearing a seatbelt. Someone said, please seriously think about if 5 or 10 years down the line, will you be able to trust your fiance, or is the distrust and anger, which you have every right to feel, going to fester inside you and make those bad days 100 times worse when you see him? Yeah. The comments are very like, they're hyping them up, sharing things that have happened, but I think a lot of people are anti-fiance in this. Okay, this person is saying that they should see a therapist, kind of similar to what I was saying. This person's saying, I'd be done because that was a really reckless move that could have killed everyone, and his response of, I don't know, doesn't cut it for me. I think the I don't know is probably the biggest fucking part for me, chat. Update in the comments, April 4th, 2025, same day, 7 hours later. For those wondering about where the accident happened, since the rules around blinking lights vary, it took place in Texas within the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's all I'll share location-wise for privacy reasons. Next, a lot of people have asked whether my fiance has shown remorse and how he's been supporting me since the accident. The answer is yes, he's been devastated. He has apologized to me multiple times at the crash site, in the hospital, during rehab, and at home. He's also been having panic attacks himself as of lately, something that he's never experienced prior to the accident. There was one moment where he called me panicking because he couldn't find his truck keys and desperately wanted to come see me to make sure I'm doing okay. My mom had to drive over to calm him down and help. Okay, I mean, at least that's good. We love the remorse. We love the apology. I'm not getting the accountability vibe. Like, I know I said I was implying accountability earlier, but now that like I'm reading this, I'm realizing remorse and accountability are very different. Like, I do really need him to be like, this was fucking my fault, and like, here's why I didn't do it, and here's how I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen in the future. I'm at least glad to hear that he's showing remorse here. I will say this is a little high maintenance. Like, I appreciate that he desperately wants to make sure that they're doing okay, but also, bro, like, let's not cause more problems for OP, if that makes sense. He also continued to visit me frequently in the hospital and at the rehab center, and he's been advocating for me when I had issues, such as the back brace I was given, which was clearly too large. Side note, despite multiple people from my family, fiance, and even the PTs mentioning it, the hospital staff didn't replace it. It wasn't until I called the hospital a week later, frustrated, that they finally took action. I had to put on my Karen voice and explain that their failure to properly size the brace was actively hindering my recovery. Eventually, I got a new one in a smaller size. Fun fact, the brace only comes in 2 sizes: small, medium, and large, extra large. I'll let you guess which one they gave me. For a very important piece of medical equipment, that sounds fucking dumb. And you know this fucking stupid piece of shit back brace with only 2 sizes probably costed like 15 grand. Like, if you're gonna be in the medical space and charge an arm and a leg for it, fucking make sure it's fitted to them. My fiance has also been helping me understand the insurance claim process. From what we know, I may be looking at around $100,000. Additionally, at home, he's made sure I have what I need to recover. He just bought me a $300 plus bed frame that moves up up and down similarly to the hospital beds I was used to because I can't move up and down as normally without feeling pain or being at risk of re-breaking something. He's also been cooking for me and for my visiting family, helping me clean up, assisting with daily tasks, and has made it clear he doesn't expect me to lift a finger and only wants me to focus on healing. He's even told me how he's going to halt his plans on expanding his side business so that he can spend more time tending to me during my recovery. Not saying he didn't fuck up, not saying that he doesn't still need to take accountability. All I'm going to say is that I'm liking what I'm reading. He's not being useless. He's being somewhat helpful. With this being said, I've seen a lot of comments saying I should leave him or even sue him, calling him arrogant or careless. I understand those reactions, but looking back, I would have to admit that this was an honest mistake that anyone could make at any time of the day, at any point in time. A bad mistake? Yes. But nonetheless, simple human error at the end of the day. I'm just angry that it's happened to me, but that it's something I will have to work through on my own. I don't think I fuck with that. I don't think that's something you work on by yourself. I think that is a recipe for disaster. If you want to actually work through these feelings, you need a couples counseling therapist to be able to talk about this with your fiance. I'm not a huge fan of that. Obviously, I'm not trying to blame OP or anything like that, but like, I just think that's a really bad move. With the I don't know reply that he'd given me a week earlier, I will admit he may have been still experiencing shock or trauma, and his mind seemed to have been drawing a blank when I had asked him, because I asked him the same question again today. Why didn't you stop when I told you to? He told me he thought the gap between us and the oncoming car was big enough to make it. He didn't realize how close it actually was. He also said he didn't hear me say stop until it was too late, at which point we were already hit. I told him I said it much earlier, and he admitted he just didn't hear me. He feels horrible. He's told me that every time he approaches a yellow light while driving now, he reminds himself of what happened and how stupid he feels for not being more careful that night. I'm not excusing what happened. It was traumatic. But I do believe he's learning from it and taking accountability for everything as best as he can. I'm just the angry, bitter one that is needing to work through my emotions and grief that I'm experiencing because of the accident. He admitted he just didn't hear me. That's not cutting it for me. Like, I really do think the real answer is I heard you and didn't listen to you. Unless you guys were like blasting music or something, which could be the case. Don't get me wrong. Even then, I'm sitting here, my passenger, I can probably like touch them like driving here. So they're sitting right here. Like, there's no way you don't hear each other. I'm liking a lot from this fiance. Like, even him at least getting past the I don't know. Like, we're starting all the stuff that he's doing. If OP thinks that he feels horrible about it, and now when he's at a yellow light, he's more thoughtful about it. Like, I believe OP. I just think there's more. Low-key, guys, I think this might be above Reddit's pay grade. I know, like, the cliche thing is the answer is therapy, but truly, like, y'all need to be in therapy individually and together to talk this out together. Like, I don't think this is just something that you can work on by yourself. That said, I've resumed individual therapy weekly now instead of monthly, and I had my first session since the accident as of yesterday, and my fiance and I will be attending couples counseling together. Yes, I plan on staying with him. Shit, bro, I should have kept reading. I think the answer could be OP needs to divorce him. Like, there's no way that she can forgive him. Honestly, like, my gut feeling is OP is doing the right thing, at least trying to salvage this. It was a big fucking mistake, but like, there's a lot of people who probably get in car accidents all the time from making a dumb mistake. Just in this case, someone got hurt. Like, if she did want to end this thing with him, like, I totally get it, but I kind of am glad that she's at least like, let's do the right things to see if we can salvage this. I know a lot of you are coming from a place of concern and care, and I truly appreciate that. At the same time, I want to gently remind everyone that I'm a real person going through a very real and painful experience. What I shared was raw and vulnerable, not a call to be judged or attacked. It's okay to disagree with how I'm choosing to move forward, but please remember, I'm the one living this day by day. Healing, both physically and emotional, isn't linear, and I'm doing the best I can. Thank you again for the overwhelming response. I'm reading as many comments as I can, even if I can't reply to everyone. Please continue to take care of yourselves and those you love. Hold anyone you care about closely to you, because when you least expect it, life can change in an instant. There is one relevant comment, not here to pass judgment on you or your fiance, but wanted to ask one question I don't think I've seen. How has his son been since the accident? Obviously physically unharmed, but has anything changed you've observed from him seeing you undergo all this pain and rehab, or possibly seeing his dad suffer any panic attacks? Hope all is well with you and your family, sending nothing but positive vibes. OP, his son only has seen me at the wreck and hasn't seen me since. Not at the hospital, not at the rehab center, and not back at home. He lives with his mother. He has asked if I'm okay, and I did get to speak on the phone with him briefly. For him personally, he had one nightmare and was worried about me for a few days in the first few days post-wreck. But since then, my understanding is that he's back to his bubbly self and is enjoying the extra attention from friends and family members as they are giving him surprise gifts and taking him out to his favorite restaurant. Shit, glad the son is okay and he's not, hopefully not traumatized by this. I really want to just know what the comments are saying, y'all. Mourning the future you wanted / thought you were going to have is such a real and helpless grief. It's beyond simple disappointment. Yeah, and I think there is kind of a grief or mourning around, like, this changed your guys' relationship. Like, if anything, that's what you guys have to sort out, is this is going to change the dynamic of your relationship probably forever. And, like, in terms of, like, trust and all that, which is why I think the therapy will be super helpful, don't get me wrong, but, like, I do see a world where the relationship has to end because they can't get over it. This is crazy, guys. Nobody in the comments of at least the Best of Redditor updates thread is really being decisive about saying whether or not this man deserves to be broken up with by OP. I'll leave it at this. I am happy that they're at least trying to work it out. I don't think instantly ending the engagement is the right move. That being said, if OP did leave the fiance, I kind of get it. I'm glad they didn't jump to that conclusion right away. And who knows, maybe it'll work out after all the therapy and after like time heals, but holy shit. My fiance dumped me on Tuesday. Today, she tells me she wants the apartment to herself tomorrow for her Valentine's date. Original post, February 13th, 2014. I'll try to keep this short because I'm so stunned. I think I've stopped being able to process things. I've 26 male, been with my fiance, 25 female for 4 years. We've been engaged since last year and actively planning the wedding. Last month, we moved to a new city across the country because my fiance got an amazing job offer. I wasn't happy about it since I had to quit my job and all our family and friends were in the city we left. I was kind of a jerk during the moving process, but I've come around since getting here. No, not the move to a new city that isolates the other person. Oh no, and only benefits the person that ends the relationship. No, that's down fucking tremendous, chat. Holy shit. My fiance kept talking about this guy, late 20s maybe, she worked with at her new job, and it made me uneasy. I went to a few after work events where he showed up and he seemed like a total asshole. Very full of himself, artistic type. I didn't like the way he interacted with my fiance and we would occasionally fight about it. Tuesday night, she got home really late, sat me down and broke up with me. She said she felt an immediate bond with this coworker that's stronger than anything she's ever felt before. This is from the woman who just a few months ago I held in my arms while watching the stars as she told me she's never felt more at peace than when she's beside me. I laid awake on the couch all night, feeling like I was continually being punched in the stomach. I didn't fall asleep until 3 p.m. yesterday and stayed asleep until this morning when she woke me up. Basically, she's having this asshole over for Valentine's Day and demanded she get the apartment to herself. Between the move, all the deposits we had been putting for wedding stuff, and not having a job since we moved out here, I have literally no money for a hotel or anything else. We got into a big fight because I called her out and said she knew I had nowhere else to go. She said that's not her problem. She's done solving my problems for me. In parentheses, what? Question mark, question mark, question mark, exclamation point. And that I needed to fix this one on my own. I guess his roommate is having a date over, so my fiance offered our place for her date with this asshole. She says this is happening no matter what I say. So yeah, what the hell am I supposed to do? Two options here. You probably do the healthy thing. Ask your friends, family for a small loan so that you can just hop on a flight, talk to the landlord about being off the lease because this bitch wants to pull some shit. Or we do the unhealthy thing and we ruin this date. Could it cause some issues? Yes. Could it maybe even backfire? Absolutely. Not denying that. Would this absolutely fucking dickhead of a fiance deserve it? Fuck yes. Also, kind of big question mark on my end. Did she give you the ring back? Like, to me, that's like, all right, give me the fucking ring. I'm out. That's what I'm paying for my flight, lease break, whatever. Like, please tell me for the love of God she isn't keeping the ring. Because by God, does she not deserve it? Chat, you know what? Why don't you guys help me out on this? What are some absolutely diabolical things this man could do to absolutely ruin this Valentine's date? What are some ideas? You know, just in case someone finds himself in this situation and needs to make it happen. I would hide things that might smell bad somewhere they can't find it and move out. Amra, I love how you think. Dare I suggest tuna in the vents? Write that down, write that down. Nefarious and evil Sarby versus benevolent and kind Sarby. We all have two wolves inside of ourselves. Take every light bulb. That is so unbelievably petty, but I'm here for it. Yo, that would be fucking diabolical. Like if you smeared shit on the bed, make them little poopy boy and girls. Bro came in hot. He's slurping up that water right now. Bro's He a thirsty man. It really do kind of be Beans in the wild right now, chat. Beans is beansing right now. I love him so much, dude. He's so silly. He's so rotund. My boy is round. Let's get through the relevant comments because it looks pretty deep. Comment 1. Hell no, you're gonna park your ass on the couch tomorrow and you're going to refuse to move. Come hell or high water. Do not leave. What a heinous move on her part. OP. I basically told her I would refuse to move tomorrow, but she said this man was coming over no matter what. Same commenter replied to that saying, well then, they're gonna have to deal with having a romantic date with another dude sitting on the couch then, aren't they? I mean, he could be doing a lot more than sitting on the couch. Just check my chat, you know? OP replied to that, I can't emotionally handle seeing her date another man right in front of me in our home. I understand I would fuck up their night, but I think I'd shatter on the spot seeing them together. Okay, well then I propose the tuna. Put tuna in microwave. Set microwave for 30 minutes. Do that with multiple cans. Put tuna in air vents, bedroom, fucking everywhere. Profit. And that's how you become a millionaire. Or maybe have $1 million lawsuit against you. I don't know. For legal reasons, this is a joke, by the way. I should probably say that. Someone's gonna get arrested and be like, I was only just listening to what Sarby said. Uh-oh. A commenter asked why they can't go anywhere else. OP replied, I asked why it had to be here. His roommate is using his place for a date. I asked why it couldn't be at a restaurant or a hotel or anywhere else. And then all she could do was talk about the ways I failed her in our relationship and that this time she wasn't going to fix things for me. Fuck her, bro. Someone replied, she is doing this intentionally. She has something to prove to herself, to you, to the other guy. Not sure, but it's about more than this date. I had to live with my ex for months due to being in a situation similar to yours. I started seeing other people, but always went out. That's what any decent person would do. Don't cave. Have a party, as others have suggested. She doesn't deserve any satisfaction from this. I fucking love that idea. Oh, you want to have a date? I'm throwing a fucking rager. You're trying to have a date on this table? I'm using this table as an elevated surface. I'm fucking here for it, chat. I'm so here for it. OP replied, this is so true. You should have seen her face as we got fighting over this. OP also added a couple of edits. I appreciate everyone telling me I should stand my ground. I told my fiance I wouldn't leave the apartment, but I don't think it's a threat I can carry through with. I will be emotionally devastated if I have to watch the woman I love and care for more than anyone else date someone right in front of me in my own home. Other suggestions would be appreciated. And then edit 2 is thank you so much to everyone for all your suggestions. I can't keep up with all the comments. It's almost overwhelming given everything that's going on in my life right now. I'm going to take a walk and try to clear my head. I just can't bring myself to tell my family and friends what's happened. It feels so embarrassing. I like the ideas about trying to reach a compromise. I have a lot to think about. No, don't compromise with her. Fuck that. Go nuclear. Dude, I'm in a fucking mood right now. But like, I'm usually pretty like, okay, maybe we should take the high road. Not this one. I want nuclear. I want this party. I want you to stink up the apartment. Shit, bro. Whoever suggested shitting in the bed, like even that, I'm like, let's fucking do it. If there's a time to go nuclear where a fucking jury might convict you, but also kind of be like, you know what? I get it. This is the time. Once again, for legal reasons, this is a joke. Another comment said, don't go. Is your name on the lease? Fight this Grinch. If I knew where you lived, I might come over and be your date. That's how much I think you should stand your ground. OOP replied, my name isn't on the lease since I didn't have a job when we moved out and my credit isn't the best. We thought it would be safer if she put her name on the lease since she's employed and has better credit. You know what? In that case, probably safer not to do anything here because like technically he's not a resident of the apartment legally by having his name on the lease. But that also means if this apartment happens to accidentally be damaged legally, if they can't prove that it was him, Home Skilly Vanilla is not liable. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? And then someone replied to that comment, go home. Is there someone you can stay with there? If your name is not on the lease, get the fuck out and go no contact. OP replied, plane tickets back home are insanely expensive and it's money I just don't have right now. Someone replied to that comment saying, can you borrow the money from your parents? Surely they'll understand given that you're in dire straits. OOP replied to that saying, honestly, I haven't been able to bring myself to tell them what's happened. I'm so ashamed and embarrassed about it. They're gonna know eventually. You gotta fucking tell them. Like, you're in quite the pickle. If you're not gonna go nuclear and you just want to get the fuck out of there, like, you kind of have to tell them. The best revenge is to live a better life and get a better girlfriend, get a better place, and just pray karma calms down on her. I think you're right. He honestly should just cut his losses, go home. Like, clearly he's put in a really, really bad situation. He's not in a good mental space. But all I'm saying is, if he did any of the things that maybe we came up with ideas for, like, low-key, y'all, I think the party one is a great idea. Hey, it's his apartment too at this point. He can throw a party. He can have a grand old time. Have some buddies over. They can rip shots. I'm too petty for a quiet exit. That's how I feel too, bro. Well, you know what bro should do? Have y'all ever heard Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball in G minor? I love that I've looked this up before. I can't believe I'm showing you guys this. This has some insane lore in my life that I cannot share with you guys, but this is just unironically one of the funniest things I'm ever gonna pull up on this stream.
I came in like the wrong hero.
This on full blast would be so wild. Like, if bro's gonna be there, he better be blasting that. Full speakers. Update February 14th, 2015, 1 year later. I've spent the last year working very hard to improve myself. Now that it's Valentine's Day again, I was thinking about what a dark place I was in last year. I didn't have the strength to post an update back then, but now that I've had some time to heal, I wanted to let everyone know how I'm doing. Part of the reason I didn't update afterward was because I was extremely embarrassed with how things turned out. It's only because of some intense therapy that I'm able to be honest and okay with telling the story. Basically, I decided to make one last big attempt at winning her, 26 female, back. No. Don't do that. Right after we got engaged, my ex had a close relative succumb to a lifelong illness. This relative was very happy that she lived long enough to see us get engaged. When my ex was a child, this relative had given my ex a charm that she wore all the time. A few months after the relative died, my ex lost the charm, and it was like the relative died a second time. As we packed up the apartment to move to the new city, I found the charm. Rather than give it back immediately, I decided that I would keep it in a safe place and surprise my ex with it at our wedding. I thought it would be a meaningful way to include this relative in a moment where she would be deeply missed. I understand the sentiment. I'm not sure if I fuck with it though. That sounds like more of a, hey bro, why didn't you fucking tell me that you found it type beat. My grandpa who passed away, I have his ring and I'm trying to think if my fiance fucking pulled this shit with that ring, I would be fucking pissed. I'm glad you guys are on the same page as me because I just don't fuck with that. Like, bro, don't get me wrong, I don't want her to win, but also, bro, you were not cooking with that one. Definitely the wrong move there. Somehow I got it in my head that if I showed her the charm on Valentine's Day, she'd remember everything that we shared and that I could cut through whatever fog she was caught up in. Oh my God, guy. I was under the impression that my ex would come home after work by herself to get the place ready for her date. I was planning to use this alone time to give her the charm and either win her back or lose decisively and leave before her date showed up. But instead, she showed up with the asshole from her job. That threw me through a loop big time, and it was incredibly awkward. He was patronizing. She became livid that I stole her charm. I struggled to articulate myself. It was the most embarrassed I've ever been. The only time I will say that I kind of agree with this girl. I'm not hoping for this at all. Like, don't get me wrong. This fiance still fucking sucks. I can't lie to y'all. There have been a couple of things to this post that have kind of been raised eyebrow about OP. And this is kind of the cherry on top for me a little bit. The she's done solving my problems for me. Not insanely raised eyebrow, but definitely a little bit. All she could do was talk about the ways I failed her in our relationship. Like, who knows? Maybe he was actually a great partner, but I couldn't help but raise my eyebrow at these things. Don't get me wrong, still fucking hate the fiance, but I'm almost wondering if other than literally cheating on her partner aside, like I wonder if OP low-key pushes fiance. Not saying that she should cheat on him. I want to clarify that. Not saying that that's okay, but like maybe she was pushing her to end the relationship. Oh yeah, he has bad credit too. I don't have enough evidence, but like there are a bunch of little things that are raised eyebrow. Bad credit, her saying that she solves all of his problems, her mentioning that he failed her multiple times in the relationship, and then now this kind of bad oversight in my opinion. It's not terrible, and I know it's coming from a good place, but also it's a little off. Like I don't want to come down on this dude, but it definitely is a little bit off. I got out of there and literally walked around all night until it got so cold I couldn't stand it anymore. I went back to the apartment building around 4 a.m. and in what was a personal low point, I fell asleep in the hallway outside of our apartment. But that was the low point. There have been high points since then. I was able to move back to my hometown and my old employer gave me my old job back. I even met someone else and we dated for a while. We just broke up though. It sucks to be alone again on Valentine's Day, but I've learned it's okay to be sad every once in a while. And compared to last year, this year is practically a celebration. Therapy gave me a wonderful perspective on life and some great coping skills for when times get difficult. As for my ex, I heard she married the asshole guy from work. Her sister would text me occasionally, and apparently her family hates the guy. Whatever, it's not my problem anymore. That's fucking crazy. Isn't it only been a year? Yeah, 1 year later. What the fuck? Whether or not OP's an asshole or not, I still fucking hope the fiance gets their karma. Like, I bet this guy's gonna cheat on her. 100%. I'd bet the house on that. Lastly, I want to thank everyone on Reddit sincerely. People offered to buy me a ticket home. Other people offered to hang out with me if we happened to be in the same city. Some people even offered just to Skype with me so I could have someone to talk with. Even though I didn't respond, your messages meant so much to me. Thank thank you. Shit, Reddit was so much nicer in 2015 than it is now. Holy shit. I wonder if anybody in the comments is pointing out what we pointed out. Like, don't get me wrong, I hate this fiance. I don't want to negate that, but are we gonna point out the little things about OP that I'm like, Someone said about the charm, this is quite possibly the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Instead of immediately giving her back this unfathomably meaningful item, you hide it from her for months so that when she gets it back, not only does she have to grapple with the emotions of having it back after so long and the bittersweet reminder of her dead relative, but also that you had it for a long time and kept it hidden despite her grief. And you want that all to happen at your wedding. Thank you. Between that and the extremely vague, I was kind of a jerk during the moving process. It really, oh my God, that was another red flag we didn't even notice. It really felt to me like there was a lot more to his behavior that he wasn't sharing. Not saying that the ex handled everything well, but he feels like an unreliable source. This is exactly how I feel, just said so much better. Fiance shouldn't have done what she did. That being said, I'm almost willing to confidently say I feel like OP is leaving things out here. Bare minimum, not fully communicating how bad the things that he did were. I was on his side, but something about that idea with the charm just sent red flags off in my head, bro. Everyone sucks. I will say, I still want to put the fiance on tippy top. She sucks absolute ass, bro. No matter what your partner does to you, cheating on them is never the answer. Okay, wait, that's a lie. There are certain things that if your partner did stuff to you and you cheated on them, I would be like, you know what? Fair. But like in this case, with what we know, not okay. By the way, guys, I'm talking about like extreme things like R-wording or like abusing, like something very illegal. I want to clarify that. I'm not saying, oh yeah, you should just cheat on somebody if they just, kind of piss you off that day. Just want to clarify. Even if you're not the best boyfriend, just break up with them, then go sleep with your coworker. And for the love of God, if you're living with them and was previously engaged, don't have a Valentine's Day date with them at the apartment that they still live in. That's insane.
My husband of 20 years is cheating on me with our son's 18-year-old girlfriend. Original post, March 17th, 2024. We have a 41 female OP, a 48 male husband. I'm a stay-at-home mom. My husband, whom we'll call Paul, works in finance. We have been married for nearly 20 years. We have 2 kids, whom we'll call Eric, our 18-year-old son, currently a senior in high school, and Mary, our 15-year-old daughter. They are both the lights of my life. My marriage with my husband has grown somewhat stale over the years for a myriad of reasons, such as his work schedule or how I've aged poorly since we first met. Our son, Eric, has a girlfriend, 18 female, whom he's been dating since they were freshmen in high school. We'll call her Amy. Eric absolutely adores Amy. She's his first love, and she's someone I've always considered as family. This makes the whole situation emotionally excruciating for me. Last week, I inadvertently saw my husband's phone screen and got a glimpse of a text thread between my husband and Amy, our son's girlfriend, and I read what looked like a message of her telling him that she misses sucking his cock. I froze in place in complete disbelief. I spent most of the day convincing myself that I must have misread what I saw. However, I didn't misread it because over the last several days, I discovered a file on his computer filled with tons of BDSM porn. He clearly has a porn addiction. He also has saved photos of Amy from her Instagram on his computer. Although they weren't inappropriate, she was fully clothed. It was still the proof I needed to confirm I wasn't going crazy. I also looked at his phone during opportune moments and saw more of their interactions. I wish I had never looked. They were filled with mean, horrible things said at my expense, with him constantly comparing me to her. He would call me fat and old, among other things, with Amy LOLing. Dude, at that point, fucking leave. I just don't get it. If that's how you feel, just get a divorce. It would just be so much easier and you'd save so many people heartbreak. I've always had hunches or paranoid feelings that Paul has been cheating on me, but never in a million years could I have fathomed something like this. Last month, I found a thong in our bedroom that I know wasn't mine. I turned a blind eye to it, being naive and acting like it was maybe our daughter's, even though it made zero sense. Not only is he cheating on me, but he's betraying our son. I'm completely devastated. I don't even think words can adequately describe the dread, anger, shock I feel right now. I'm totally overwhelmed on how to handle this because obviously action needs to be taken, but I'm terrified of what kind of blow this will be for my son's psyche. I have no idea how to even broach this completely fucked up topic with him. I wouldn't wish this predicament on my worst enemy. I can't even believe I married the scumbag in the first place. And then my mind started to race, realizing that I started noticing specifically unusual behavior from him around the same time Amy turned 18. Was he waiting for for her to turn 18 before pursuing this affair? There's so many layers to all of this, and I'm completely paralyzed with fear and dread about it all. None of it makes any fucking sense. How did this happen? Am I that much of a stupid idiot that I let all of this happen under my watch? Eric adores Amy. The thought of revealing this sickening truth to him terrifies me. The impact on his young heart and mind could be devastating. My heart aches for Eric and Mary, who are completely innocent bystanders. I haven't confronted my husband about this because I'm frankly scared of the domino effect. I don't know who to turn to first about this. I share my story not for sympathy, but in search of understanding and perhaps advice from those who might have had to grapple with deep betrayal. I mean, my advice here is to nut up. Her husband has clearly been cheating on her for a while now, and she needs to stop living in this world of like, I found a thong, ooh, I'll just make up excuses. Like, she needs to really be aggressive about, I'm going to fucking take everything that I can from this husband and ruin his life. Look at it like this. Your kids have a great reason to hate him and only be dedicated to you. You just got to play your cards right. Get all the evidence that you can. I know revenge doesn't cure the betrayal, but bro, this is the time. Nut up and ruin his life. I really hope the next update is we took everything my husband owns. We got Amy to break up with him. Further info from OP. I'm trying to be smart and strategic with this truly surreal and terrible situation I'm in. I want to be clear that not telling my son about this was never something I was considering. I didn't mean to make it seem that way. I was just saying I'm intensely dreading it, but obviously it needs to be addressed. It's one part of the many steps of my overall plan. I'm currently playing dumb and collecting as much evidence as I can so I can be prepared for anything and everything. I'm going to protect myself, and I'm going to make sure I don't put myself in any potential harm's way. Update 1, March 22nd, 2024, I think like 5 days after the original post. My brother connected me to a very tough junkyard dog type lawyer. I saved screenshots of all of his conversations with Amy. I was only able to get the last 3 months from iCloud. The conversations were mostly flirty and dirty talk. It was hard to stomach, completely sleazy, and I saw several negative things said about me. His call history showed he talks with her for hours pretty consistently. He uses dating apps. I took screenshots of his profiles and all of the active chats he has with his matches. It's very clear he uses a filter to seek out girls who are 18 to 22 or so. I mean, we knew he was shitty, but like there is firm confirmation. I copied all of his files from the computer. He goes on sex chat rooms and forums, and he spends a ton of money on OnlyFans. I rummaged through every possible hiding spot I could think of in the house. He had various toys, blindfolds, cuffs, lubricants, etc. He also had different outfits, which looked kind of like a girl's Catholic school uniform and a French maid type outfit too. I picked up Eric and Mary from school, and we all drove to my brother's. They were able to sense something was awry when I picked them up. I delicately told them the entire situation, and I broke down crying. Mary had the most anger, even more than Eric. That's kind of crazy. But also, how many of Mary's friends is he probably starting to groom? I met with Amy's mother and told her everything. She confiscated Amy's phone and gave me the entire chat log. It only dated back 3 months ago, like on my husband's iCloud, almost as if they both deleted the messages at the same time. She told me Amy sobbed when confronted. Amy basically told her mother that she will never understand and that she and him are in love. I don't want to get into too many details with what else she was saying, but suffice to say, it's very easy to assume that my husband slowly and methodically became a sage-like figure in her life, making her feel like she could rely on him, and he took advantage of the fact that she came from a broken home. Amy also non-stop insists that their friendship only became romantic/physical recently, and before that she said he was more of a friend and mentor. I confronted Paul over Zoom. The look on his face was scary. He became red and looked sweaty. He had anger and panic in his eyes. His tone of voice was very defensive and frightening. He just kept yelling the word context over and over again, that none of that happened. He was unable to speak without constant stutters and intensity. Nothing really made any sense to me. I refused to tell him where I was, and he said I had no right to take his kids away from him, and then he abruptly left the Zoom. My lawyer is filing for temporary sole custody of Mary and a restraining order. Mary is still the most angry. She's totally furious with her dad, and Amy, justifiably so, of course. Mary is recollecting moments and times she watched her dad interact with her friends, and she's in knots about it. Eric is very clearly hurting, but he's so strong and very level-headed. He wants to see a therapist. The maturity my kids are showing makes me proud. They don't deserve this at all. We made the authorities very aware of everything. I plan on being completely unforgiving and ruthless in this divorce. I'm reflecting on how I've been treated and how it's made me a shell of a person, and how I've had a very negative opinion of myself because of him over the last 20 years. I don't want to let this scumbag get away with it. I want to reinvent myself and move on stronger than ever. Good for her. her. Sounds like she kind of nutted up. I'm very proud of her. OP adds in the comments, both me and my son are going to get tested and checked as well. There's no telling how many different women he's been sleeping around with. As for Amy, her mom has been in contact with me, and Amy has been threatening to run away with him because they are in love. She sounds extremely brainwashed. She's gonna need some serious reprogramming to figure that out. Update 2, March 27th, 2024. We are all safe and still at my brother's house. We're very careful. His house is secured. Paul has tried to call my cell phone several times a day. I am refusing to interact with him, and I will have my lawyer handle all correspondence. He scares me, frankly. My brother has a very secure house with an alarm system and deadbolt locks. We feel safe with him. Both my son and I got checked out and tested. It appears so far that we're both clean based on the immediate rapid tests, but in the coming days, we'll know for certain when the lab results come in. I'm not overly concerned. Eric is scheduled to see a therapist early next week, which is very good and needed. He's not himself right now. He seems a bit shell-shocked, and I am concerned. He internalizes a lot, and it's hard to get a read on what's going on in his head. That being said, he's thoughtful and has been talking with me, asking me how I'm doing and everything. He's not interested in corresponding with his dad at all. He calls only my cell phone and hasn't tried to reach out to either Eric or Mary. I get the sense that Paul is extremely nervous. He's scared, and I think he deep down knows that if investigated thoroughly, he would be in big trouble. That's what my gut is telling me. I still think about the Zoom call with him, and the more I think about it, the more it looked like he was a man whose entire world was crashing down on him. The panic in his face was very apparent. I offered Mary for me to make an appointment with a therapist as well, but she doesn't want to see one yet. She said she's open to it eventually, but wants time to herself. She's been asking her friends about her dad and if they experienced any creepiness from him. Her friends were open and honest with her, and apparently they felt like he stared a lot and sensed his hovering presence when they were over. One of Mary's friends went so far as to say she felt like he was checking her out a lot, like looking at her rear and complimenting the color of her yoga pants. At the time, no issue was brought up about it, but in the light of everything that has been happening, it seems strange now. He would sit himself in different areas or vantage points to get a good view of her, she claimed. He also asked questions about what kind of friend group or which clique they were in at school. He kept asking if they were popular girls. I'm completely embarrassed that they had this experience at our house. As for updates on Amy, which is the main reason why I wanted to write this update, I completely agree that she is also a victim. A lot of people have been emphasizing that, and I agree. I've done everything I could in my own power to indirectly get her opportunities to get help. Like I said, I told her mother, and she's been updating me on everything. Amy, unfortunately, is still living in her deluded reality, and I can only pray that she'll eventually come to her senses. She doesn't want to see any doctors or therapists at all, and has been constantly trying to reach Paul because, again, she believes that they are in love. From what I've been told, she hasn't been able to get a hold of him, and he's been avoiding communication with her completely. Amy blames me for that, and believes I took away his devices and am very controlling. Any truth that her mother tries to convey to her is met with conspiracy theories and hostility. Amy looks at me as a villain and still sees Paul through rose-colored glasses. Her mother showed her screenshots of his dating app profiles and matches, and she refuses to believe it, saying I photoshopped it. According to her mother, Amy keeps saying things like everyone is just mad because she found herself a real man, and that I'm jealous because she takes better care of him than I do. It's in line with some of the conversations I screenshotted, where a lot of what Paul says is him complaining about things I don't do for him sexually. Right now, she's insisting that she and Paul will be together in the long run. Ugh, he's honestly a slime ball. I can only hope that Amy comes to her senses, but me directly intervening doesn't feel like it would be productive at that moment. Maybe eventually, though. My God, that makes me so scared to have kids in the future, bro. Why are dudes like this? It honestly is a downfall that men don't go through something like menopause where they like slowly get less horny. Honestly, this world would be such a better place if dudes just weren't as horny as we are.
New update. Update number 4, April 14th, 2025. Literally a full year after the last update and a year and like a month since the original post. I'm sorry it's been so long since my last update. I didn't expect to continue to have this overwhelming amount of support from people for this long. Thank you so much. I've gotten so many messages on here that I haven't been able to respond to, so I wanted to share an update with how everything is on my end and my kids' end. I filed for divorce. I took our kids, Eric and our daughter, Mary, and we left. We stayed at my brother's house. I met with Amy's mother, who confiscated her phone and confirmed everything I'd suspected. Amy told her they were in love. She refused therapy, pushed everyone away, and insisted I was jealous and trying to ruin their relationship. Paul ignored Amy for a while, but eventually they started seeing each other again. She was 18 and legally couldn't be stopped. Meanwhile, I worked with a lawyer, I filed for full custody, and we began building a case. Paul kept trying to contact me directly, but I refused to speak with him. We moved forward with the divorce even as more disturbing things came to light. His behavior with Mary's friends, the comments, the hovering, the pattern. It was all there in hindsight. Mary and Eric were both traumatized, and they are still in therapy a year later about it. The amount of scorched earth Paul caused is mind-boggling to me. I'm still rattled by it, and I don't think I will ever recover, to be honest. Paul and Amy dated for several months after we started the divorce proceedings. I tried my best to keep in touch with Amy's mom to see if there's anything we can do for her to realize Paul's predatory behavior, and maybe speak out against him to see if he slept with her or did anything to her when she was younger. But she refused to talk about anything. She was in love still. Just a few weeks before the divorce was supposed to be finalized, Paul disappeared. He drained what was left of our shared accounts, what I hadn't already locked down, and left. We found out later that he booked a one-way ticket to Phnom Penh, Cambodia. I had no idea. I got a notification from the financial tracking alert my lawyer set up. That was it. We were close to finalizing everything, and I had full custody of Mary. He wasn't contesting anything. Then he stopped replying. Didn't show up to court, never filed anything, nothing. It was like he just dissolved. Amy, according to her mother, was devastated, and she's completely gone mentally right now. She's basically nomadic, sleeping at friends' homes around the area, refusing to come home. Damn, bro. Like, I don't know if I really talked about Amy when I read this story like a year ago. Don't get me wrong. Like, she shouldn't have been cheating on her boyfriend and home wrecking her boyfriend's mother. But like, dude, homegirl was brainwashed and manipulated to the max. I'm mad at her, but I'm also severely sad for her. Because like, at the end of the day, like, let's be honest, she was 100% groomed as a kid. She didn't know any better. That in itself is always sad no matter what. My lawyer pushed for a default judgment and the court granted it. The divorce is technically finalized now. I have custody. He's in violation of the support order, but none of it matters. He's gone. Cambodia has no extradition treaty, no child support enforcement, nothing. There's no way to make him come back, no way to make him pay anything. We have no actual clue where he is in Cambodia. One thing that chills me to my core is how notorious Cambodia is when it comes to trafficking minors. Oh, fuck. I totally forgot about that. Y'all, I bet he 100% went there because he did his research. Eric's in college. He keeps his distance from everything to do with Paul. He doesn't say much, but he's steady. I know it still hurts. He just doesn't show it. Mary's quiet about it too. She still brings up little things sometimes. Things she remembers now in a different light. She asked me the other night if I thought Paul would come back. I didn't answer. I don't think she really wanted me to. I don't know what Paul's doing in Cambodia. I don't know who he's talking to or what his life looks like now. I've had a few people tell me to report him to the FBI or try to push for an international investigation. I've made the calls. I've filed what I could, but there's only so much they can do when someone hasn't technically committed a crime that's provable in the US. I don't believe he left the country just to avoid alimony. I think he's a predator, and I think he's a criminal. That's all for now. I don't have much else to give. I'm still here. My kids are still here, and we're trying. Thanks to everyone for their concern and care. It really warms me. It means so much to me. I genuinely don't know off the top of my head which countries are dangerous or not, but something in the back of my mind also told me, isn't Cambodia like a little bit dangerous? Isn't there a possibility that Paul could get what he deserves? Hey, I ain't religious, but let's pray for that shit. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy, I hope Paul gets robbed. Is that very Christian of me? That feels very Christian of me. Cambodia is very dangerous. Okay, good to hear. I know it's probably just a really bad thing to wish harm on someone, but I think if anybody deserves it, it's fucking Paul. Relevant and top comments. Commenter 1, thank you for this update. I think about you and your kids frequently. You alluded to him being in legal trouble in your prior posts. Is this why he fled? OP, just my gut feeling that he fled because I think he's been with minors. Commenter 2, from what I've learned studying criminology, there's often a pattern of behaviors of people like your ex. I really think he will be back and that he will get caught. Maybe him fleeing is a blessing in disguise because that puts an actual physical barrier between your family and him. As a mom, woman, and well, hopefully a decent human being, I would like to thank you for doing the best you could to protect everyone. It must have hurt so much. It's now time for you, for your healing. I wish you all the best and all the happiness you can have. Honestly, going back to like me talking about her nutting up, she nutted up in like the best way possible. And she did what a mom has to do and like prioritized her kids, their health, their healing over her own. W mom. If Kathy knew about OP, Kathy would be so proud. This is what good mothers do. Now that it's past, she needs to do what is necessary for her to heal now. Edit. May I just quickly add something regarding Amy? Maybe you need to hear it. You have done everything you could. There's a moment in horrible decisions like this when we just need to step back and allow people involved to make their own decisions and let ourselves have some breathing space from everyone else's feelings. It often sucks because we want to just grab them and shake them by their shoulders until they click into sanity, but your body needs to recover too. Your nervous system needs to recover, eat well, and sleep plenty. I really hope that there's no guilt involved on your part, because if her life is awful from this point on, it's your ex's fault, and I hope you know that. Okay, so I think this is directed towards Amy. I mean, I hope she sees this. I also hope maybe OP, like, texts them this. Oh, fuck, man. What a story, y'all. That commenter that said, thank you for this update. I think about you and your kids frequently. This is a story chat that, like, haunts me. When I saw that there was a new update for this story, I was like, I need to know for me, bro. Not even for the videos. Like, this story really did stick with me because of how fucked up it was. My wife will no longer let me pursue my hobbies. We have a 31 male OP, 37 female girlfriend. Nope, wife, not girlfriend. Posted in r/relationship advice. Original post, April 24th, 2019. Exactly as the title implies, she says, I am not allowed to pursue my own hobbies anymore as they are unhealthy. Before our marriage, 7 months ago, I was interested in all sorts of things. Playing video games for at least a few hours per week, collecting Star Wars figures. Some might say that was a bit childish anyways, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. Painting, Warhammer 40k, etc. These are things that I have done since my early teens. My wife wanted us to make healthy lifestyle changes after our marriage, which at first I took as just eating healthier, exercising, etc. I was totally on board for it. Everything was fine until I went down to the basement one day and noticed all of my Star Wars figures gone from the display shelf. All that remained were some limbs from a few of the figures. My wife was at work, so I sent her a text asking what happened to them. In the meantime, I rummaged through all of the garbages and finally found the figures in the bigger garbage next to the garage. Most of the cards were torn up and the figures dismembered, while others were completely burned or melted. I took a picture and sent it to her, asking if she did it. Y'all, I never thought I'd be saying this, but like, divorce over Star Wars action figures. Honestly, y'all, like, don't get me wrong. I've never really understood it. I'm also just like, to each their own, do your thing. I don't need to understand it for it to be appropriate for you to do so. That being said, the principle of taking something that this man clearly loves and cherishes and fucking not just throws it away, not just puts it in the trash, but rips up, dismembers, and burns, that's fucked up. That means there was some sort of like deep-seated hatred of these things that she bottled up until you were locked in and wanted you to feel like you had nowhere else to go. This was your only option, was to give up the things that you love because you're married to her now. That's manipulative. Fuck her. Honestly, if there is like legal action you can take here in terms of like she destroyed your property, I would fucking take it. That's ridiculous. And also, like, I don't really know about Star Wars figurines like that, but some of this shit is probably expensive, right? Some of them are probably expensive collectibles. Like, there's no way this wasn't actually kind of maybe worth something. This is fucked up, and I would use this in the divorce case. I would take these pictures, I'd document this super well, I'd try to record her admitting that she did all this shit so that you can get a divorce, have a lawyer be like, we're gonna fuck you on this. That's so disrespectful, y'all. I'm trying to think, for me, y'all, that's like someone fucking, I mean, I guess this is my job, so it's a little bit different, but like, that's like somebody taking my computer shit and just like burning it, destroying it. Oh, I would be mad. The love would be gone in the moment that I found that shit in the garbage. That night, after not replying to any of my texts, I confronted her. It turned into a huge argument about how my hobbies are immature and that she was repulsed by them, even threatening to not have sex with me until I gave them up. In the heat of the moment, I agreed with her, if only to get her to stop yelling at me. Bro, don't agree with this bitch. Fuck her. We haven't talked about it since, and I've unfortunately been abiding by her rules for the past 7 months. Though I've been secretly playing video games, buying figures, etc. She only found out about it one time, and she destroyed it immediately. I can't keep this up any longer. I want to have my own hobbies without her getting upset. What is the best way to bring the subject up again? And how can I let her know how much my hobbies mean to me? Yo, dude, I promise you, this evil motherfucker does not care how much these hobbies mean to you. If you have to hide who you are as a person and the things that you enjoy in a marriage, you should not be in that marriage. You need to divorce her, and I hope you very carefully documented all of this shit that she's been saying, doing, and destroying, because wow, dude, just, I don't know who needs to hear this, but don't put up with that shit. When they forever and always your ass, they're forever and always alwaysing you exactly how you are, as well as how you may change as a human being. Unless you're doing some absolutely heinous, unacceptable shit, they need to take you as you are. Both girl and guy, I should specify. I'm pissed for homie. This is awful behavior. Yeah, abusive wife. I would argue highly abusive wife. Controlling his activities, threatening him to comply, abusive. Here's the thing, Dragon. I don't understand how it would work if you're married to the person, because technically I think you guys own everything together. So I don't know how much of a destruction of property argument there is. Y'all, we need like a lawyer on call. All right, we got a couple of relevant comments here. One commenter said, this is abusive. She loved you for years while you did your hobbies, so what's changed now? She's shaming you for your passion and throwing out and destroying your stuff without talking to you about it. Was this a long time argument? Did she get after you for gaming / having your collectibles, or was it just one day she had enough? OP replied, we had a few small disagreements in the past about me playing video games, but it was mainly just because I had played for too many hours. She never said a word about any of my collectibles. Couple of top comments here. Someone said, you are 31 years old. Your wife doesn't get to let you do stuff. You get to do stuff on your own terms. She is being completely unreasonable and very controlling. Someone replied to that comment, said exactly this. Marriage doesn't mean she's your mom or your boss. You are still your own person. Yeah. Take your partner into consideration and all, but Jesus, fuck your wife / husband / partner doesn't have the right to tell you what you are allowed to do. Hella controlling partners are not healthy, not sustainable, and don't make for a happy environment. And then someone said, the melting and ripping of his Star Wars stuff is insane. How would his wife feel if he decided he only wanted to see her in revealing clothes? So he just cut up and threw out all of her favorite clothes, but kept the slutty ones. That's a good example, y'all. Okay, so they did add an edit here. Thank you all so much for the words of support and guidance. It truly means a lot. Getting a different perspective on this has made me realize that she may be going through some internal or mental issues. She was the love of my life before all of this, and I'm not going to give up on her by just getting a divorce without knowing the reason for her acting this way. I'm going to ask if she would be willing to go to a therapy session and move on from there. I mean, I applaud it, but that's just some manipulative ass shit. Just so inconsiderate. Like, I get there can be like mental issues or internal issues, but like that doesn't erase all of the shitty things that she's doing to you. Also, you've tried to talk to her about it, and she was even more abusive and threatening to you. I don't know, King. I think you got to cut your losses, but that's just me personally. We have update 2 posted April 25th, 2019, same post next day, and it comes in the form of an edit. Edit number 2, currently at my best friend's house, drafting an email to send to my lawyer first thing in the morning. I had decided to hook my Xbox up to the living room television and gauge what my wife's reaction would be when she came home from work and saw me playing. She immediately went to our bedroom and slammed the door. I walked in on her angrily texting something on her phone before she screamed at me that I was going back on my promises and that playing games is unhealthy. I kept telling her that I deserve to have my own hobbies, and she told me that no real husband has those kinds of hobbies. Yo, I think she fell down the like reverse tater tot hole. Like, you know, as much as there's like men who are like alpha male, you need to like be able to kill a gorilla with your bare fucking hands or else you are a beta male. There's also the flip side of that, of like women telling other women like, you can't date a guy who likes dolls and likes video games. That is a weak male, and there's no way he'll be able to protect your family if a gorilla decides to bust through your door and fuck you up. I dead ass think she fell down that hole. There's no way she hasn't fallen down that stupid red pill brain dead hole. I basically told her that she was free to go to find a real husband, and I packed a small bag and drove to my friend's house. I feel kind of relieved, but also sick to my stomach. I will keep updating when I can. You are also supportive and deserve to be kept in the loop. All right, honestly, bro, I'm just glad bro kind of was like, all right, and we out. Like, I'm glad he didn't do this. I have to respect him being like, you know what, I'm going to try to save my marriage. But low key, this is all just like me reading into shit, by the way, guys. Like, I don't really know if maybe me saying divorce is like too much, too early, whatever. But from my read on this, OP does not have enough of a spine to stand up for himself. And I think he needs to start developing it. And I really think doing this is not having a spine. You really do need to put your foot down and be like, absolutely fucking not, no. And if you aren't okay with it, then we're getting divorced. That's all it is standing up for yourself and not letting yourself be bullied in a relationship where like you shouldn't be bullied like that. Okay, we have one top comment in response, I'm guessing, to this edit that says, I'm going to be real with you. You cannot stay with this abusive woman and live a happy life. Divorce sucks, but admitting you made a mistake in choosing a partner and moving on now is better than admitting it after wasting 5 or 10 or 20 more years being unhappy in this mess. Now, here's another perspective. My fiance is not into video games or action figures, but I still have a ton of video game and action figures displayed prominently in our living room, because I'm into them and she likes when I'm happy. That's how healthy relationships work. Dude, I love it when people include comments in here because, like, a lot of the time the comments communicate what I'm trying to say, but probably in a nicer and more eloquent manner. But I agree with this. You don't have to be into it to, like, support your partner. It's not about, like, oh, you shouldn't be into that. Husbands aren't into that. It's like, dude, you chose that partner. You also are choosing everything that they're into, the type of person that they are. You're not just choosing who you want them to be. I didn't even clock that, Anna. Wondering who she was texting. Yeah, I wonder if she's cheating on Home Skilly. Like, I wonder if she met someone who's like more of a man, more of a husband, into more husbandly things than OP is. She's maybe cheating on him. Edit 3, which I think is also update 3. My wife has been texting me nonstop, asking where I went and telling me to come back to the house. She even claimed she was pregnant and that I was abandoning my own child, only to backtrack a few minutes later. I'm making sure to save all these texts in case my lawyer thinks they could come in use. I hope she's fucking lying about that one because that would be fucked up. God, imagine this woman as the mother of your child. Ugh. Update 4, posted April 26, 2019. Same post 2 days later. Edit 4, spent the morning talking to my family and a few of my other friends about the situation. They all agree that a divorce needs to happen, whether or not she is mentally ill. My sister even said that she had a bad feeling about her, but saw how happy I was and didn't want to impose at the time. Honestly, L sister, man. If there's one thing I've learned in the 27 years of my life, if you have a sibling who genuinely cares about you and your happiness, if they don't like your partner or they think something's off about your partner, they are usually right. Shout out Home Skilly Vanilli Claire. My sister Claire, she's batting 1,000 for knowing when the girls that I'm dating are bad or not. Every time, chat, every time Claire hits the fucking nail on the head with it. So, like, at this point, Claire has to approve of the girls that I'm dating or that I marry because I'm like, if she doesn't approve, there's a reason. My lawyer suggested not to confront or communicate with my wife until divorce proceedings can be put in motion. Currently going to my house while she is at work to gather my valuable belongings. Last update posted June 5th, 2019. Same post, little over 2 months later. Edit number 5. Not sure if anybody's still keeping up with my post, but I figured I would give another update. The divorce proceedings are currently underway. My ex-wife has been incredibly apologetic for not only the main incident in my post, but also for how she's been treating me in general. She has also agreed to pay me a lump sum for the figures. We came to a mutual agreement in terms of the value. Overall, she has been acting surprisingly reasonable throughout all of this. I feel like this is a positive turning point in my life. Thank you all for giving me the courage to finally take action. Bro, please, no matter what happens, I don't care how this pans out, but please do not get back together with her. All right? Don't let her reel you in, bro. He never said how long they dated before this. I want to know how long was this woman putting on this facade, faking that she was okay with this before they finally got married. She had him right where she wanted him and then started to berate him for this shit. This woman is master manipulator, master bamboozler. Do not fall for that shit. I don't care how apologetic she is. You can't trust that anything she does moving forward is sincere. My ex dumped me in January after 9 years together because he didn't think I was wife material. Now he reached out wanting to talk because he needs to get something off of his chest. We have a 27 female OP, 26 male ex. Originally posted to r/am I the a-hole and r/advice. Original post April 8th, 2025. I was with my ex, who I will call Nate, because if I'm being honest, minus betraying a friend, I was a Cassie. Editor's note, I believe this is a Euphoria TV reference. I don't watch it, but that's what Google says. This has no bearing on the story. I'm guessing it has something to do with how Cassie and Nate got together. I have never watched Euphoria. Low-key, don't really fuck with Euphoria like that because it kind of glorifies drugs a little bit more than I'm happy with. I don't want to go too much into the details, but for the last 9 years, I lost myself to Nate. He was my world. Everything I did was for him. I helped him through depression, helped get/keep his grades up, even worked 2 jobs so he could focus on college when his parents disowned him for nearly 3 years because they didn't agree with the major or college he chose. Bear in mind, I was also a college student. When his parents started talking to him again and started to financially support him, we moved into a new apartment. Nate said he wanted me to quit my job. I didn't, because it was his turn to take care of me. For 16 months, everything was great. He spoiled me. Then, I noticed he was more interested in his new friends. At times, he ignored me completely. Back in December, he did a 180 and he love-bombed me the whole month. He really went out of his way to make Christmas magical for me. I honestly believed he was going to propose. On January the 2nd, he made me my favorite dinner and made this speech about me being his first love, how I've been there since high school. I kept thinking any minute now, he's gonna ask me to marry him. But no. He dumped me as his speech went on. My world... Wait, hold on. What? That is fucking insane to do. Wow. What an absolutely diabolical thing to do to somebody. Also, chat, I'm calling it now. Bro definitely cheated. But no, he dumped me. As his speech went on, my world fell apart. And as much as he tried to sugarcoat it, he basically said, "You were a good girlfriend, but that's what you will always be to me. A girlfriend. I don't see you as my wife or the mother of my children. Blah, blah. You served your purpose now. I don't need you anymore. Blah, blah. I need someone on my level. Blah, blah. You're a gold digger. Blah. I'll give you 30 days to move out." Holy shit, bro. A simple, "I don't love you anymore. We should end our relationship" would have sufficed. You didn't need to fucking dig a grave for her 10 feet under, push her in, topple the dirt on top of her, and then piss on the grave, bro. That is what he did. Oh my God. That's fucking evil. That's so mean. I couldn't speak, and he stared at me, looking for a response. I think this lasted 20 minutes before he said he'd sleep in the guest room, then left. Strangely, I didn't cry or get angry. I just ordered cardboard boxes online, then went to bed. The next day, I waited for him to leave the apartment before I left my room. Then I called my boss and asked, begged really, if I could transfer anywhere. She told me there wasn't anything, but if something came up in my department, she'd consider me. I then reached out to everyone I knew that wasn't also Nate's friend for a place to stay. My cousin invited me to stay in her spare room for as long as I needed, and I could move in straight away, so that was amazing. In the 4 days it took me to pack my stuff and move out, I didn't see or speak to Nate. I doubt he even noticed. I didn't trust myself at the time to ignore a "you up" text, so I blocked him and everyone close to him. I even changed my number/email to make sure he couldn't reach me. The first night at my cousin's was the first night everything hit me, I think. I cried every night the first month. I honestly felt like shit. I thought about what Nate said over and over again. It made me feel so low, like I was nothing. He only stayed with me because I was just there, but thankfully my cousin sent for my mom, other cousins, and real friends to give me an intervention, which I badly needed. I believe that first month, I wouldn't have made it without my cousin. Oh my God. I'm still healing and waiting on that job transfer because I feel like I'm not in the same city as Nate, and I have a place of my own. The fresh start would do me a world of good. I thought by now I'd be a distant memory for Nate, but shockingly, he sent flowers to my job today for my birthday, which was on Sunday. Apparently, he went to my parents' house looking for me too, and my mom admitted he's been dropping off stuff before and tried to ask questions about me, but they told him to fuck off. The flowers came with a card saying, "Dear Cassie, happy belated birthday. I've been thinking about you nonstop for the last few months, especially with how everything ended. I need to get something off my chest that I feel will haunt me for the rest of my life if I don't tell you this to your face, but I have no way of contacting you. If it's possible, can we meet up in the near future? Nate." What could he want? What's haunting him he needs to say to my face? Everyone in my life is telling me to ignore him, but they hate him. I'm torn, but I can't lie. My curiosity is telling me meet him to see what he wants. Has anyone been in my shoes or in Nate's? Bro, he's gonna tell you that he cheated. Or he wants to get back together, but I think it's cheated. Just the way that he phrased it, I think he's like, "Oh, wee woo, I feel bad about what I did. I need to come clean for myself." Bro, I've literally fucking been in this situation. This person like apologized to me about something, and the little peacekeeper inside of me was like, you know what? I'm just gonna say I forgive them just to make them feel better. Now I look back at that shit, and I should have been like, fuck you. Get blocked, bitch. Like, that's what I want OP to do. Figure out where he lives and send the flowers back, stamped out, burnt to a crisp, and a letter with a photo of you going like this. That's what I want, bro. We're not keeping the peace. Step on Nate's throat. I bet it's something that make him feel better and her feel worse. This man is so self-involved. He is 100% only doing this for him, not for her. Let it haunt him forever. I agree, bro. You do not owe him any of your time. Do not give him any of your energy. He's already sucked away so much of it. Some relevant comments here. Top comment. Not gonna lie, I didn't read all of that. I just wanted to say, just because he needs to say something doesn't mean you need to hear it. I doubt it's anything that would add value to your life. He's likely wanting to alleviate guilt for some long ago trespass. OOP, my cousin thinks he tried to monkey branch and it didn't work out. Editor's note, monkey branching means he was already emotionally connecting, at least, with someone else before breaking up with OP. Commenter, seems like he cheated on you back in December before the love bombing. Now this dumbass cheater is probably engaged to the affair partner, hence the wife material comment. Fuck him. Let him implode that relationship just like he imploded yours. He's not a good human, and he's trying to make himself feel better about something. He doesn't deserve that, and he doesn't deserve your time or energy. OOP, you know what's pathetic? If he cheated and told me that was the reason he was breaking up with me, I don't think it would have hurt me as much. Low key, yeah. If he would have just said that he cheated on her, that's way better than the shit that he fucking said. This is some shit that you say to destroy someone's soul. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure it doesn't feel good to be told that you got cheated on, but by God, is this arguably worse. So someone said to get checked for STDs. OOP said, I didn't think of that. Now I'm panicking. This commenter also said, let your job know to turn him away if he shows up. The last thing you need is him stalking you. I would say that's a good idea as well. Someone wanted a clarification on, is he blocked everywhere? OP replied, blocked on social media and my accounts are set to private. New number and his number is blocked and deleted. I didn't trust myself for the first few weeks because back in January, a you up text would have had me running barefoot at 2 a.m. Yo, we love the self-awareness, OP. Mini update in comments, April 9th, 2025, next day. He came to my work today looking for me during lunchtime. I told the receptionist say I was out and caught a ride home with a coworker so I wouldn't meet him if he planned to run into me by accident. Yo, this is fucking whack behavior, bro. That's some creepy shit. Like, low-key, someone or OP needs to yell at him and tell him to get the fuck away. Update post April 14th, 2025, 5 days after this mini update and 6 days from the original post. So we ended up meeting, and no, I didn't go to him. I had told the receptionist at my work if he came looking for me, just say I'm out for the day after he showed up once. I didn't want the drama of him around my job. So Nate just kept going to my usual places like the grocery store I go to every Saturday evening or the park I ran at Sunday mornings. His words, till he would eventually run into me. Yo, I don't know who needs to hear this, but don't do that. That's fucking creepy. Stalker behavior. And he did. Yesterday, he was waiting at the coffee shop I go to after my morning run. When I saw him, I tried to do a turnaround and leave, but he kept calling me. So I thought to myself, if everything went wrong, a coffee shop would be safer than my walk home. So I just sat down and asked him what he wanted. He gave an apology that wasn't an apology. You know, the type with, I'm sorry, but, and pity me. He blamed his mental health, his job, his parents, his friends, everyone but himself. I took someone's advice on here and said, cut the crap, I already know everything. He genuinely looked shocked and stared at me for a second. I guess he thought his coworker already told me everything, so he couldn't lie. Here's what really happened. He fell for a girl in his office. When he told me her name, I knew her immediately. I've met her a few times. He told me for the last 2 years, he idolized her. To be fair, she's beautiful with an amazing personality. And he hated me because I was the one stopping them from being together because his coworker was too classy to be a side piece. When he broke up with me, he confessed to her that he was madly in love with her, and he ended a 9-year relationship to be with her. Well, here's where it gets funny. She doesn't even like him, LOL. She called him a piece of trash and told him if he ever spoke to her outside of work, she'd report him to HR. So I asked him, what has any of this got to do with me? Like, we are over. I clearly cut ties. There's no reason for us to speak. He wants to try again. Promised we'd get married before the year ends. That we belong together. I told him, no. I'm nobody's second choice. He threw me away after 9 years and said some pretty cruel things to me, and now he thinks if he snaps his fingers, I'll come running back. He tried to beg and had fake tears. He tried bringing up the good times in our relationship. Fucking hilarious that this girl wasn't even fucking into him. It wouldn't have been good even if she was into him. That being said, it feels so much better that this girl was like, you're a fucking piece of trash, stay away from me. What a dumbass for thinking, oh yeah, bro, you know what I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna go to the girl that I ended things for the other girl and tell her, you know what? We're gonna be married within the year. Like, this dude is delusional. Like, does this guy walk around thinking that every woman ever wants to sleep with him because his shit don't stink? That's literally the vibe I'm getting from him. He's just like, oh, dude, any girl wants to fucking sleep with me. My fucking dick is so big and I'm so fucking cool. Like, it pains me to know that people like this actually exist. Let's fucking send them to a mental asylum so we can study their narcissist ass brains. Give them a lobotomy ASAP Rocky. I told him to please leave me alone as he wasted too much of my time already. I texted my cousin to meet me at the coffee shop. He kept saying nonsense, even suggested if I went to couples counseling for a few months, he'd leave me alone. The 20 minutes it took for my cousin to arrive, it felt like 20 years. That's a fucking threat. If you just do the thing that I want you to do for me, I'll leave you alone. Girl, I hope you're recording this conversation. If a fucking crazy ex ever rolls up to you and wants to have a conversation with you after literally stalking you, record the conversation. I don't know legally what you have to do so. I think you probably have to let them know. Although I actually think there is a way where you don't have to let them know. I don't know. Still, bro, record that shit. In the end, I just stopped listening and stood at the counter making small talk with baristas till my cousin arrived. She told him to fuck off, and if he tried to follow us, she'd call her brothers. He stayed in the coffee shop as far as I know, and we just went home. That's it. It's only been a day, but I feel like it's over and I'm free of him. I hope bro fucking picked up what OP was putting down, but I just feel like someone like this is not going to. That's fucking scary. Okay, let me look at some of these comments. Okay, someone basically saying you're being stalked, change your routine. You dodged a bullet. People basically saying, I hope your job has an opening in another city. Me too. Wow, that's fucking terrifying, bro. That man is not mentally stable. Get as far away as you can. Listen, I would not bet money on this guy leaving you alone. I really wouldn't. I think this guy's fucked up in the head. That's wild. If a crime is being committed, it is legal to record. That is so good to know. Yeah, for real. He left a 9-year relationship for like something that he didn't even get confirmation. That's insane. But what do we expect from a dumb man, you know? Am I the a-hole for telling my neighbor I dated her husband? Originally posted in r/am I the a-hole. Original post March 25th, 2025. I, 33 female, became friendly with my neighbor, 37 female. Let's call her Emily. After I helped her move a few boxes into our building while her husband, 35 male, was in the hospital. I didn't meet Emily's husband until a few weeks later when she invited me over to dinner as a thanks. When I arrived first, Emily's husband had run out to pick up some wine, but when he came back, I was shocked to see Matt, a guy I had gone on 3 dates with a year ago before he suddenly ghosted me. He had a terrible poker face and tried to pretend like he didn't recognize me. I don't play those games. A year ago, unless they fucking speed ran that dating and marriage process, there's no way that he wasn't cheating on Emily. 100%. I asked how long they had been married and Emily said 3 years. She recognized there was tension and asked if we knew each other. He said no. I said yes and told Emily that I had gone on dates with him a year ago. She became very upset and asked me to leave, which I did. The next day, Emily reached out and said she didn't appreciate that I lied about when I dated her husband. He told her we had dated 4 years ago, before they were married. I didn't even live in this city 4 years ago. And even if we had dated 4 years ago, they would have been engaged at that point. Either way, he would have been cheating. I sent her screenshots of our text from the year before and from Bumble of his profile, which was still active. She never responded, but when I saw her in the lobby yesterday, she wouldn't even look me in the eye. I don't know if they're still together, and Emily hasn't responded to my text, so am I the a-hole? Girl, nah. You can't be the a-hole for giving her all the information. Normalize telling people when their partners cheat on them. It is the right thing to do. There is absolutely nothing else you should do. It's Emily's fault that she doesn't want to believe this. If Emily wants to live in a house of lies, let Emily live in her house of lies. You've given her the facts. You did nothing wrong. You tried to help her out. In no way, shape, or form that you are the a-hole. That being said, from now on, leave her alone. You did your part. You gave her the information. There's no point in following up. That's kind of one of those, here's the information. Do with it what you will. I'm gonna go about my life. Her anger is misplaced. Yeah, especially if OP had evidence. I remember one YouTuber said that OP was petty to say it in front of him. What? That's fucking ridiculous. It's not petty to say that in front of him. I think no matter what, cheaters should be exposed. To say it's petty to just bring up the fact that like you guys are having this tension because you are now putting together in your head that this man cheated on his wife with you, that is not petty. That is just being a good person. Even further, like, I don't think this would make her petty at all if she did do this, but I think this further supports that there's no way she's petty. It's not like she just bursted out, oh my God, you're a cheater. Like, the wife asked. The wife could tell there was tension and asked OP if they knew each other, and then she was like, yeah, bro, and here's the story. That's crazy to say she's petty. I don't know which YouTuber said that, but they are not cooking. There's a mini update in the comments half an hour later. Update, Emily just stopped by. We had a quick chat, but she let me know that she's kicked Matt out and she thanked me for telling the truth. She also found out that I was not the only person he dated while they were married. Giving her space now, but wanted to share an update since it happened so quickly after posting. Bro, that's so awful to do. Girl just signed a lease at a new place that they're just moving into. Oh my God. This poor girl. Like, who's gonna take up that lease? Are they gonna have to break it? Like, I would be so fucking mad. We got another update comment, March 28th, 2025, 3 days later. A happy final update. Over the last few days, I've been hanging out with Emily along with her sister and 2 best friends forever, who flew in to support her. Tuesday night, she texted me, space is overrated, wine, question mark? And that was that. Matt confessed to everything and more, and it was all a lot worse than anyone thought, but this isn't about him anymore. We've all had some really good, sometimes difficult conversations, but it's all been very cathartic and surprisingly positive. I found myself in the company of some pretty amazing women, which is why this situation has turned out the way it has. I moved to this city 2 years ago without knowing anyone, and it certainly wasn't an easy thing to tell someone that I'd hoped would be a friend. To be honest, it kind of felt like word vomit in the moment. And when I first posted, I admittedly wanted validation because there was a large and loudly nagging part of me that thought I'd done the wrong thing. So I'm very grateful to have come through what began as a really awful situation with 4 awesome new friends and far more laughs than tears. Emily, her sister, and I now are planning bi-weekly brunch dates. And we also discovered that we have some other friends and interests in common. This post got far more attention than I ever anticipated, so I did end up telling Emily about it. Her sister joked that we should start a podcast together, and we both shouted no. So this is both the end and new beginning of the story. Thank you all for the support and kind words for both me and Emily. We're going to be just fine. Signing off. Crazy that some woman's husband cheating on her with you led to like finding your new BFF. But hey, meeting new friends as adults is hard. We love a little trauma bond. I don't hate it. That's kind of cute. I'm glad it ended well. We love a happy ending. My wife returned from a work retreat with a hickey. She swears it's a bug bite, but I'm not convinced. I'm at a loss. How do I move forward? OOP originally posted to r/marriage and r/relationship advice. Original post, February 21st, 2025. I'm 27 male in a fight with my wife, 28 female. We've had fights before, but not this bad. I'm at a loss on how to proceed. For context, we're college sweethearts, married for almost 6 years. We have a daughter, 4 female. Our relationship was never perfect or without challenges. We've faced some family opposition with cultural differences, but we've made it work. She's my first love and my best friend. My wife works in corporate. Her job has annual work retreats that last for about a week. This year was in Vegas. I usually arrange my work schedule and tag along with her, and we make our own trip out of it. We couldn't this year. Our daughter gets major anxiety traveling long distances. We're working on it, but she wasn't budging, and we decided to choose our battles. So I stood behind and held down the fort at home. The change of plans was a bummer because the trip was part of us reconnecting as both a couple and as a family. My wife's work hours have taken a toll on our marriage, and her work-life balance leaves much to be desired. We entertained the idea of her skipping the retreat. Attendance is optional, but it's generally frowned upon if you don't, and my wife's making connections in her field. She grew increasingly weird. We have a system if either of us is away for extended periods, we keep in contact. For the first day or so, she was herself, but she grew distant. I'd even text her about important stuff and be left on read while she claimed she never saw my text. Whenever we talked, she was rushing me or our daughter off the phone. These were all times she wasn't involved in retreat activities. We were supposed to have a mini birthday celebration for our daughter over FaceTime. Our daughter was excited. It was something my wife promised her because the retreat overlapped her actual birthday. But my wife backed out because she had people up in her room after a seminar. It was like she wanted my permission to break her promise to our daughter. I told her I wasn't offering that nor making her keep her word. She said I wasn't being fair and this was a networking opportunity. They were business oriented and they wouldn't understand her stepping away for family time. I said her decision is her decision, but she'd have to explain it to our daughter. She promised her that she'd rain check the following day. Even if that isn't suspect, it's a shitty way to parent your kid. Like, at least reschedule the birthday FaceTime. Our daughter didn't understand and cried. My wife ended up hanging up and leaving me to comfort our daughter alone. The whole incident rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like it. She didn't keep her word for the rain check either. She was documenting the retreat on social media. One coworker, 23 male, was almost in every pic/video attached to her hip. In one pic, he had his arm too comfortably around her, in my opinion. He's a recent hire in my wife's department. She was asked to oversee him. I don't like the guy. He doesn't know boundaries. Once, in response to a work assignment, he texted my wife that she's actually the kind of woman he needs to keep him in check. My wife had brushed it off. She feels bad for him because he's not fitting in. She took him under her wing during his first retreat with the team. If I'd questioned, she'd say she was tired or networking. There was always something, but I've seen her at these retreats. This wasn't like her. She was just off. The day before her return home, she complained about a bruise on her neck. She stressed it was a bug bite. I didn't actually see the bruise until she came home. I instantly thought it was a full-on hickey. She kind of brushed it off after making a big deal of it over the phone. I didn't push because our daughter was present. But when I was able to confront her, she clung to her bug bite claim. When I kept pushing, she asked what I was trying to imply. I outright said I believe she had a hickey. I didn't believe she was being honest with me. We had it out then. She was offended and pissed at the accusation. Infidelity has always been a sore topic. Her family has a history of infidelity. So we had a pretty bad fight, and she accused me of looking to pick a fight due to the incident with our daughter's birthday. I told her it had nothing to do with that and everything to do with a hickey on her neck. The fight ended in an impasse. We're still not recovered. She swears it's a bug bite, but I'm not convinced. I've always trusted my wife. I never doubted her, but the bruise doesn't look like a bug bite. It looks like a hickey. I only feel more strongly when I consider how distant and weird she was during the Vegas retreat. Now she's wearing turtlenecks ever since, and we're caught between arguing and her dousing our daughter and me with affection. Communication usually prevails for us, but not now. I think my accusation pushed us to a new level of argument. I'm at a loss here. I really need outside perspectives. How do I move forward? I feel like little mini red flags are shooting up. Like dousing the daughter and OP with affection, being distant and not very communicative during the retreat. Even missing her daughter's birthday FaceTime call is rubbing me the wrong way. OP should check phone records or go through OP's texts, because hickey, love bombing, lack of communication, I think that's enough to at least be suspicious. The wife is doing some sketchy behavior here. I would like to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I just genuinely don't think her behavior is behavior that deserves the benefit of the doubt. I'm a magnet for bug bites and they never looked like hickeys. I feel like I really need to see this bug bite. Even if she didn't cheat, she sucks. I think I could definitely get behind that mime. She's not really a good mother, and she's also kind of like gaslighting OP a little bit. She was offended and pissed at the accusation. Like that's like the why would you think that situation, not the I'm offended and pissed that you would do that because you know that I struggle with infidelity in my family. Yeah, there's just a lot there that I'm not a big fan of. Relevant comments. First comment, did she show you her phone or provide any proof that could support her innocence or just dismiss you? OOP's response. No, I haven't had access to her phone. We usually have an open phone policy, but it's not something we've ever really done. I'm sure it'll be another argument. A commenter asked, whose idea was the FaceTime birthday celebration? OOP responded with, the birthday FaceTime was my wife's idea. She promised our daughter and got her excited about it. No, she didn't talk with our daughter until she was calling to cancel. That's another reason the birthday stunt rubbed me the wrong way. And then this is OOP responding to a deleted comment. Yeah, you don't get to disconnect from being a parent, especially to a minor, for extended holidays. You certainly don't ghost them on their birthday, and when you promise to do something special for them and got the child excited about it, or hang up on them while they're crying. I'm not insecure. My wife's gone on the retreats before. We both work outside the home and care for our daughter. So it's not an imbalance. My wife's work/life balance is out of sorts. She's in the company of other adults plenty. I've been with my wife on these retreats and other social events. I know how she is. She was off this entire trip. Nor was it appreciated her entertaining a coworker who ignores boundaries, having his arm wrapped around her waist like he was claiming her or something. I trusted her when she said she had a bug bite. I got things to help her treat it for when she returned. It was only after I saw the bruise in person that there was no mistaking it was a hickey for me, and I questioned her on it. Update February 28th, 2025, about a week after the original post. It took a while for my wife and me to have a real conversation about the bruise on her neck. We were stuck between arguing and her showering our daughter and me with affection. I rarely saw the bruise because she was turtlenecked up, but I did note the healing process from reddish purple to yellow. There wasn't any more discussion about the Vegas retreat. She made it clear she was done talking about it and that she shouldn't need to defend herself to her husband. I don't like that. If your husband thinks you're cheating, that isn't something he's just gonna brush aside. I told her she could do whatever she wanted, but I was done being treated like an idiot and I wasn't sharing a bed with someone I couldn't trust. So I moved into the guest room. Communication stopped. The silences were palpable. Even our daughter noticed. I'm not proud of that. I tried keeping her out of fights. My wife came to the guest room one night and asked if we could talk. I could tell she had been crying. She said she hated the way things were between us. She felt she was losing me either way. I told her I needed complete honesty. She confessed she hooked up with that coworker on our daughter's birthday. The hickey was from him. So you cheated on your husband during the time you were supposed to do the FaceTime that you scheduled with your daughter for her birthday. Oh God, it does not get more evil than that. Holy fuck. She was lost in the heat of the moment and didn't realize he was sucking so hard on her neck. Oh yeah, because that's the problem with this whole issue. By her account, they made out while doing some on top of the clothes stuff, and then he went down on her. It stopped there because he called her by a nickname that I affectionately call her. It snapped her back to the reality of her actions. She went to splash water on her face and saw the hickey. The guy made light of it and made a joke about the hickey being her souvenir. She blew up on him and kicked him out of her suite. Part of the reason she was avoiding me was out of guilt. She said she's coming clean because she doesn't want to hide things anymore. I asked her why she cheated. What was it about the guy that she deemed worthy of risking everything? She claimed it wasn't him specifically, nor is she unhappy with our marriage. She doesn't really know how to explain it, but a part of her feels broken. The more she looks in the mirror, the more she sees her dad, 57 male, a cycle of being consumed with work, distant from her child, and the infidelity he put her mom, 55 female, through. She said her family never talked about anything openly, and how when she was growing up, my mother-in-law never addressed anything with her. Okay, girl, that's tough. I'm sorry you feel like that. Go to therapy. Don't fucking cheat on your husband. It really do kind of be that simple. I said her parents didn't make her cheat. She chose to party up with a guy who constantly disrespected our relationship. These were all her decisions, and she at any point could have chosen our family. She agreed. She wants to blame her parents, but realizes this is on her. She apologized for cheating and for entertaining the guy's advances. She said she'll do whatever it takes to repair, go to HR, quit her job, counseling, anything. She wants to make everything right. I told her I don't know what right looks like or if that's possible for us anymore. I knew we had our problems, but I thought there wasn't anything we couldn't talk out. She insisted we could talk it out. We didn't have to give up on us. She tried giving this rally cry for our relationship, but I felt very numb. I said I didn't recognize her, not just the betrayal of our vows, but also how she treated our daughter. She's like a stranger. She feels she failed as a wife and mom, but she loves us both beyond words and wants our life together and our family intact. Damn, girl, should have thought about that before you were sticking your tongue down homeboy's throat. I told her I couldn't give her the answer she wanted and thought we needed to separate and reevaluate. She didn't want separation. She felt we should stay together in our home, but I told her a separation was happening. Either she was leaving the home or I was with our daughter. She consented to leaving so as to best not uproot our daughter so much. She asked for our daughter not to be taken away from her. My wife's staying with my in-laws. I know that's difficult in itself because she doesn't have the best relationship with her parents. One of the hardest parts is the shift for our daughter. Right now, she believes her mom's just busy with work per usual. She hasn't questioned it too much. I mean, that's a fucking shitty reality for a kid in general. Like, if the kid's like not even concerned about mommy being gone, that was already fucked to begin with. My mother-in-law called the other day. She made no excuses for my wife, but she's advocating for us to work through it. Yeah, obviously, because she fucking did it. She told me times when she heard my wife describe me as the anchor she always wanted. She believes there's something worth fighting for if I'm open. Despite some family opposition we faced through our relationship, my mother-in-law was always a supporter of us. I'm even more at a loss. I never imagined this kind of betrayal from my wife. She was my safe place. I feel numb yet broken. I'm in love with her. That hasn't changed, but I don't see myself, her, our relationship, or our family the same. Everything's more tense because it's fresh. I think this period of separation is for the best. I'm not sure about divorce. I haven't let myself fully go there. I'm not set either way. I don't know where things go from here, but I'm focusing on our daughter and taking things one step at a time. I feel that's all I can do right now. A commenter asked, how close was the colleague to her to know her nickname that you use? And why did she let him this close to her literally and figuratively? OOP, at the time, I knew they had a friendship. She was asked to mentor him as he joined her department. So she took him under the wing and was supposed to be showing him the ropes. They would text and stuff and he would cross boundaries. His texts increasingly read like a guy fishing for an opportunity. My wife shut the idea down as not even a factor for her, and I chose to trust my wife because I never had a reason to doubt her before. As far as the nickname, it was something only I called her, but it wasn't like a secret thing. I called her by it in front of others and our daughter. She claims the guy overheard me say it when she had me on the speaker once and he asked her about it after. I think as soon as someone cheats, trust goes out the window, and I think it's better for everybody to just move on. Because what? OOP takes the wife back, and OOP constantly has issues with worrying about where his wife is when he's not there, who she's with, is she cheating again? Those are never going to go away. Even if that maybe gets not as bad, OP's always going to be thinking about that. And on top of that, the wife is now going to be a little bit shackled. There's going to have to be things in place in this marriage that doesn't give her as much privacy as she had before and as much freedom. But like, in order for OP to feel confident and secure about this relationship, he might need to have her location all the time, be able to call her whenever and like check on what she's doing, check her text messages, check her social media. Like, I don't think it's healthy. I think your best bet is to cut your losses and move on. Yeah, missing the kid's birthday in order to cheat is honestly even worse. Not only is she a shitty wife, but she's a shitty mother. And that too is a huge factor. Honestly, chat by itself is a good reason to snip, snip, chop, chop. Update 2, March 14th, 2025, a good 2 weeks after the first update and a good 3 weeks after the original post. Things have been a little chaotic with the new status quo after my wife's affair, but I'm taking everything one step at a time. My wife and I explained the separation to our daughter in simple, concrete terms and reassured her that we both still love her without going into the reasons behind the separation. Our daughter's always been an observant kid, but I don't think the separation has hit her yet. She doesn't see the difference between her mom not being home and her usual busy with work. During visits, she's more distant towards her mom and clings to me. My wife attempted to play with her on this toy set, but our daughter wasn't having it and shouted at her mom that she didn't want to play with her. I mean, W kid. Like, she knows, bro. Kids are smart. She knows some shit's up. The disconnect between my daughter and my wife hurts in a way I'm still processing. I knew my wife's work-life balance took its toll. Pre-Vegas, we were supposed to be working on reconnecting, but just how fractured things are is a lot more apparent. Our daughter interacts very little with her mom and becomes quiet around her like she does with strangers. I feel at her age, we, as her parents, should be who she's closest with and not this disconnected from her mom. Their dynamic is something I've been reflecting on. My main focus is making sure my daughter's okay through all of this. As far as between my wife and me, she's advocating for us to reconcile. She's expressed she wants to work on our marriage, not solely for our daughter, but because she loves me. Her rally cries for our relationship are still falling flat for me. I can't give her what she wants right now. I told her I wish she would have given herself these rallies before cheating. She's adamant about the affair timeline and what occurred with the coworker, 23 male. They connected because she felt bad he wasn't fitting in. He kept flirting and treating her like royalty. It started feeling good on the rougher work days. They had an emotional affair even though she didn't label it as such at the time. The emotional affair turned physical during the retreat. She disassociated from her life back home while away in Vegas. She still swears they had sex only once. The hickey came from foreplay, and while giving her oral, he called her my nickname for her, which shook her out of it. Okay, wait. Is she saying that this is the one time that they had sex? Or is she saying this happened and we stopped it before sex, but we've had sex one more time? She snapped at him about his immature attitude with the hickey and then kicked him out of her suite. She thought she could quietly end things and salvage our marriage. I asked her if she wore her wedding ring during sex with him. She confessed that she did, knowing this hurts like hell. To me, our wedding rings were a physical symbol of our love, commitment to our vows, and our bond. She tarnished our rings. I haven't been able to wear mine. It never hurts any less. There are just new levels to the hurt. She admits to contributing to blurred lines. She's now changed her number and claims to have cut contact with the coworker. She reported the affair to HR. The company has suspended both of them while they investigate the extent to which the affair impacted the department. Okay, I don't think that fixes anything, but admirable to own up to it. Coworker relations violate their policy, and it doesn't look good for my wife in terms of power balance since she was the guy's mentor. They're also calling into question if she gave him favoritism. Some have suggested I reach out to the coworker. I've considered it, but I'm not in the place to. I feel a lot of anger towards him. Bro, who the fuck recommended that? I think that's a fucking terrible idea. Someone let me know. Am I not cooking here? Is this a good idea? Or like, I don't see any positive out of this. In my head, big stupid. Okay, you guys are with me, but maybe someone on the YouTube will tell me like what he could glean from that. I think that's just a terrible idea. I don't know what Redditors are giving that advice, but their advice privileges should be revoked. ASAP Rocky. He knew exactly what he was doing with the hickey and nickname stunt. I wouldn't get anything from him except trouble. He's not worth it. I'm choosing to focus on my daughter. I've chosen to pursue marriage counseling. This isn't under the promise of reconciling, but as an assist in working through the separation as healthy as possible for our daughter. I'm still numb in a lot of ways. I never thought this would be how my marriage and family turned out. I've seen it happen to others. I've heard stories. I thought I knew what it was like. but it's nothing compared to dealing with it yourself. I don't feel like the same person anymore. I don't know how everything will pan out. It's an uphill battle, but I'm trying to show up to the battle. It's the best I can do right now. Thank you to everyone who's reached out. I appreciate the support, really. You know what? I was gonna kind of be like, marriage counseling, really? But as long as he's truly like, I don't actually fuck with the idea of getting back together with her. I just want to figure out how to make this as healthy as possible for the daughter. I get it. Honestly, admirable. But please, for the love of God, do not get back together with her. I don't think that's at all the move. I also don't think reaching out to the guy is gonna do anything. I think you need to, like, as much as possible, completely disassociate from this whole thing. It's tough. I don't think OP should take the daughter away from the mother, but he should definitely handle a bulk of the responsibility for the daughter and should have majority custody, I think. And if that involves like a legal battle, I think bro should do it. From how he describes her working and the kid's reaction, it sounds like he's already kind of being a single parent. I agree with you, Miss Mortiz. Like, in a lot of ways, it might be a good thing if this wife isn't as much in the picture. She didn't even sound like a good mom to start with, and she proved that by cheating on her husband during the time she was supposed to be doing a birthday FaceTime for her daughter. I still can't get over that. That's fucking crazy. Update 3, March 28th, 2025. Things aren't easy. I don't expect them to be. I don't regret the decision to separate. It was necessary. In many ways, I feel like my hand was forced with the betrayal and all the lies. I'm still finding my footing. I don't put people on pedestals, nor did I ever believe my wife's and my relationship was perfect. I just didn't think we'd end up like this after all this time together. While HR were still conducting their investigation on my wife and the coworker, my wife resigned. Apparently, she received pushback. Some of the top brass were pulling for her to stay on. I wasn't too surprised because she's always been a yes employee who gets the job done. She worked with the company back as an intern in college. She said she wants to prove that she's taking every possible action and cutting ties with the guy. I don't know what the investigation result was for him. I don't care, to be honest. It's not a concern of mine. We've officially begun marriage counseling. It's a new experience overall. I didn't know what to expect. We're mostly discussing our relationship's journey up to now, the affair, and what we want from counseling. My wife's position on how the affair began remains consistent. She can't really explain it precisely. She wasn't unhappy with me, but a part of her feels broken. The undivided special attention became like a drug to her. The convo kind of shifted to my in-laws, 57 male and 55 female, my wife's family life, and the impact of my father-in-law's infidelity. She believes she's a reflection of her dad in how she is as both a parent and a spouse. As a parent, she tried convincing herself she was better than him by showering our daughter, 4 female, with gifts in light of her lacking presence. As a spouse, she tried convincing herself she was better because the affair wasn't physical pre-Vegas. She thought as long as they didn't do anything physical, then she was better than her dad. That was something she told her affair partner while in Vegas, actually. They could hang out as long as it didn't turn physical. I feel like she had so many chances to choose differently, to choose us and our family, but she tossed our daughter and myself to the train tracks. Our relationship wasn't enough to stop her, our wedding rings weren't enough, and our crying daughter wasn't enough. She chose herself every time. She was selfish. She mentions the nickname thing, making her snap back to reality, as if it's supposed to make me feel better. It doesn't. I believe she only stopped at oral because she got off and had no more need to go further. I wasn't on her mind. Telling me that was like trying to put a band-aid on a gunshot wound. I didn't plan to say half of everything I did, but there was no going back once the door was open during my turn to talk. She agreed and said she had no excuse for her actions. It's not her parents, it's just her. She swore that she loves me and our daughter and wants to fight for our family. I told her that the I love yous feel hollow now. She shut out our daughter and myself to give an intimate part of herself to her coworker. She said she realizes how much larger than just the affair our problems are. She struggles connecting with our daughter and worries about messing her up, so she left the primary caretaking to me. She believes I'm better at it. She said that there's nothing she can say to change anything, but she wants to show change through her present actions. Actions speak louder than words, but by God, did your actions before that speak mighty loud. I don't think there's any coming back from this. That's some stuff we've dug through in counseling. We're still in early stages, but I believe it's aiding in communication through separation, which is more healthy for our daughter. Our therapist recommended individual counseling as a complement to couples counseling. It's something I'm seriously researching for myself. Not much has changed with our daughter since the previous update. She still doesn't feel there's a difference between her mom being home or not. I've watched her go from talkative and playful to instantly completely silent when her mom came by. I've scheduled her for play therapy. I was just about to say, I was like, you know what? That child sounds like they need therapy ASAP, Rocky. For sure. I don't know what to expect from that either, but I'm hoping for the best. My main goal is being present for her. I know I need to learn how to trust again in general. That's shot right now. Pre-Vegas, I never had a reason to doubt my wife. My trust was something she had as an irreplaceable partner. I've been betrayed before, but this one did a number in a way that others hadn't. I'm trying to stay afloat and focus on what I have rather than what I lost. I can't afford to get lost in myself. Thank you to everyone for the support and for sharing your own experiences. Talking about all this isn't easy for me, but I appreciate the openness. I mean, not much to say about that update. It's an update that still sucks. I pray to God he doesn't backslide to this woman. Yeah, I think he's doing everything right. Get that individual therapy and get your daughter in therapy, because by God, is she gonna need it. Am I the a-hole for beating my parents to the chase and moving out in the middle of the night? This is posted in r/am I the asshole. Original post November 14th, 2023. I, 18 female, overheard conversations with my mom and dad, 39 female and 40 male, about how they planned to kick me out shortly after my 18th birthday. The way they were talking about it seemed like they were dead serious, and the way it was brought up multiple times made it seem like they were going to kick me out too. So I decided that I wouldn't give them the chance to kick me out and made plans with my friend Riley, 17 female, to stay at her place until I graduated and moved into a college dorm or had an apartment of my own. Riley's parents were horrified by the thought my parents would kick me out the second I turned 18 and agreed to let me stay at their place as long as I graduated high school. Riley, her parents, and my boyfriend Cole, 18 male, came after midnight to help me take my belongings to their car and drive me to Riley's house. My parents woke up in the middle of this and asked me what the hell was going on. I kind of shrugged and told them that I was moving out before they could kick me out. My parents tried to deny this and attempted to stop me from leaving, but there was nothing that they could do since I'm a legal adult. By the way, I wasn't just going to leave in the middle of the night without any goodbye. I already put a note on the kitchen table where my mom goes to first thing in the morning, explaining what happened. I mean, shit, bro, if anybody doesn't deserve an explanation and deserves to like fucking panic, it's these parents. Right now I'm at Riley's house in their spare bedroom, and I've gotten bombarded with calls from my parents asking me to come back and not to tell my grandparents about this. In one text, my mom called me an ungrateful bitch for leaving in the middle of the night and that she should have kicked me out sooner. Fuck your parents, bro. You need to fucking make sure everybody in your community knows how fucking awful of parents you are. Kicking you out before you're done with high school, fucking crazy. Kicking you out when you're at the ripe age of 18, fucking crazy. I think you shouldn't consider kicking out your child until they're above the age of like 25. Don't have a kid unless you can support that kid becoming an adult. I'll fucking say it. If you have financial stress or something like that where you need to kick your kid out at the age of 18, don't have kids. And if you find yourself in that situation, fucking figure it out. You brought that kid into this world without consent. It's your responsibility to set them up for adult life. If they're 25 and just like lazy and not doing anything, fine, give them the boot, 100%. But until then, they are your responsibility, bro. Easy, not the a-hole. The verdict on this one was clearly not the asshole. Thank God. We do have a couple of relevant comments. Here's a commenter that said, not the a-hole. If it was one conversation that you overheard, I'd say you overreacted. But since it was several times and no note of sarcasm or joking, then you did right. Also, your mom saying she should have kicked you out sooner is pretty clear. The fact that they don't want your grandparents to know also shows they know it's wrong. You don't mention any reasons why they would want to kick you out. Have you been in trouble? Do they dislike your boyfriend? Bad grades? OOP responded, I remember from a few conversations, 2 of those conversations unrelated to kicking me out, about my mom wanting an office. And I haven't been in big trouble, like getting in trouble with the law. Grades are pretty good, and they've so far expressed approval about Cole. And then we got an update, chat. December 17th, 2023, a month later. I certainly wasn't expecting to see my story on r/ when I woke up this morning, but here we are. I honestly forget about this account and struggled to remember the password, but here we go. A lot of shocking information was revealed, and this is just my brief, messy account of it. So, like you all suggested I do, I told my grandparents what happened with screenshots of my parents' texts after I went to Riley's house. Let me tell you that they were livid at what my parents were saying to me and the fact they were planning to kick me out. I ended up meeting with them and staying with them at their place for a few days while they tried to figure out what the fuck was going on with my parents. My mom and dad were being sent money monthly by my grandma and grandpa for my college fund since they mostly depleted it. After my brother Alex moved out because he was tired of them begging him for money due to their gambling addictions. My mom admitted that their plan was to kick me out, but act like I moved out willingly because I found an apartment and get double the money that they were previously getting to help out with my rent money once they ask my grandparents for it. Yo, that's fucking diabolical. They were basically gonna bamboozle the grandparents so that they had more gambling money. Yikes, dude. Grandma yelled at my mom over the phone and told her that my mom would never see a dime of her money again. She told my mom that she would rewrite her will so that the money my mom would have gotten would go to me, which my mom freaked out at. My dad blew up my phone one more time before I blocked both him and my mom's numbers for good, calling me an evil C word and telling me that he wished my mom aborted me. So yeah, I talked with my brother, Alex, and the only thing he really had to say, or ask, I guess, was why our parents' scummy behavior hadn't been called out when they were trying to legitimately steal his paychecks to go gamble. Wow, what the fuck? Listen, like, not trying to blame Alex here, but like, you knew that your parents were this fucking scummy and you just kind of like left your sister there with them. Like, I know it's not necessarily his responsibility, but as a brother, I would not do that to my siblings. Like, my siblings would have come live with me in college before I let that happen. I'm sorry if this is kind of rambly, but this was the best I could do at the moment. Thank you all for your advice, and I'll maybe give another update if anything else happens, but I doubt it will. What insane behavior. They need some rehab ASAP to get over that gambling addiction. I mean, that's bad if they're trying to put their addiction over their kid. Like, they need some serious help. I am days away from giving birth, and my boyfriend just decided to tell me that he can't be at the birth because he's married. We have a 23 female OP and a 37 male boyfriend. So first off, I know the age gap probably should have been a red flag, but I was stupid. I don't blame you, but like, yeah. Originally posted in r/relationship advice on April 16th, 2020. We've been together for 2 years, but he lives in a different city. So you were 21 and he was 35. Holy fuck, bro. When I got pregnant, he said he was going to move to my city and we would move in together. He just needed to finalize some things with his ex-wife. He told me he was divorced when we met, and I never had any reason to question it. I knew that he had 2 kids with her as well. He told me the truth about that, just not that he wasn't divorced or even separated. All right, I need more information here. Is bro just like a fucking master juggler? There's no way that OP didn't go to visit him in his city, right? Listen, I'm being so fucking judgmental right now, chat, but being together for 2 years and you had no idea that his ex-wife was actually really his wife, I feel like you maybe didn't do your due diligence here. Like, did you not meet the kids once after dating for 2 years and being impregnated by him? I feel like OP had to have been bamboozled. So fast forward, I'm 39 weeks and he suddenly got uncommunicative, which is less than ideal when you're literally about to give birth. Bear in mind that he was supposed to have been fully moved in here a month ago. Blamed COVID. Today I found out I'm going to be induced on Monday unless baby decides to come out over the weekend. So I contacted him and I was like, okay, what's going on? And that's when he told me that he actually isn't separated or divorced. He never told his wife about anything, and now he felt like he was backed into a corner. I don't feel sorry for him for that, because that's his own fault. But obviously, literally 4 days before giving birth isn't the time you want to get this news, and I have no idea what to do now. Tell him to fuck off, obviously, but what else? I feel like I can take care of the baby, but I was preparing to have a partner to take care of it with me, you know? I don't even know what I'm asking for in terms of advice, but any advice for moving forward and handling this is appreciated. Number 1, ruin this man's fucking life. Find his wife, find his kids, let him know that he's had a side piece that he's been lying to that is also very, very, very young. I would argue too young for literally 2 years, and also go for that child support. Bro, you better take him for everything that he has. Ruin his marriage, ruin his relationship with his kids, take his money, prosper. I mean, that's tough, bro. With the kid, I have no fucking idea. Kids are hard. I've kind of always said, like, don't have a kid unless you feel like you are ready to take care of that kid if some shit hits the fans and you have to take care of that kid alone. Exhibit A, I guess. I mean, that's unfortunate, but like, I don't know. I guess I hope you have like a really supportive family. I don't know what to tell you. That's fucked. Imagine finding out your husband knocked up a 22-year-old. Exactly. Just absolutely fucked, bro. We shouldn't go rough on her because she's still really young. It's probably more of an indictment on our education system around sex, having kids, how hard that actually is. Like, I honestly firmly believe 99% of people under the age of 23 should not have a fucking kid. No fucking way are you in a place financially or maturity-wise to take care of another human being to a good level. That's what I'm thinking. I know it's like really mean to say, but like dead ass, if you're bringing a kid in this world, like you have to nut up. That is an extremely adult thing to do. And I think if you make the decision to carry a child to term and take care of it, nut up. Like, don't get me wrong. I feel bad for her. Like OP is 100% the victim. I can't even say you made this bed. You were manipulated into being in this bed 100%. But like, this is the bed, bro. Okay. So we have some relevant comments. Someone said, lawyer the fuck up, get DNA test, make sure he pays you what he owes you. This is horrible. And I'm so sorry he did this crap. He had no right. Do you have anybody else that can be there with you? Mom, friend, support. OP. I'm going to try to contact a doula organization like someone in this thread suggested. Oh, that's a great idea, actually. My mom can't be here because she's out of state thanks to COVID. I was dumb enough to think that he'd be here. This is what I was wondering, chat. So I'm going to read this one. Commenter said, this is a horrible situation. Did you never go to his place of residence? How could he hide something like this from you for 2 years? You never asked to meet his kids once it got serious. Hopefully you stick it to him. Make him take responsibility, even if it's just financially. OP replied, he had an apartment. I get the feeling that I wasn't the first person he tried this on. Told me his ex-wife had full custody, blah, 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 blah. Typical shady story. I should have seen through it. He was really good at making it all sound realistic. He came to my city for work frequently, so a lot of the time we were here. But he really had all his bases covered. I still think you maybe should have had a raised eyebrow there, but like, I get it. If he had his own apartment in his city, I could see why that would be more believable. Although, like, you never saw like a sketchy text or anything? Like in 2 years, I'm just trying to imagine, like, bro must have been on top of his shit if this was a surprise shoddy 2 years in. Commenter replied to that comment saying, so again, you never met his children. If a man has children but never has them, then there's something wrong. Agreed with that. OP replied, yep, I never once met them. I realize now that this is something I should have seen as a red flag. I think I'm a pretty smart person, but let me tell you, this has made me feel like a huge idiot. I'm also wondering, y'all, does OP have friends? Like, how does OP not have friends who are like, hey, bro, this is a little sketchy, you know? Another commenter asked, do you have proof that he's been lying this whole time? You're going to need it. OP replied, I'm a sentimental hoarder, so I have lots of text and stuff. Going to make sure that I screenshot anytime he talked about his divorce / custody / anything else he lied about. So they did leave a couple edits on the post. The first one said, thank you all. It seems like getting legal help is priority number 1. I'm just in shock right now. Like I almost feel numb, but I really appreciate everyone here for your help. I was really happy and looking forward to the baby, and I just really feel sad right now, so I need to take a breather. Everything is ready for the baby, and I'm still excited to meet them, but Jesus. I'm glad that OP's still excited for this baby. I feel like just knowing that, she's gonna be at least a semi-decent mom. Edit 2. I called around to a few family lawyers in my area, and the advice I got from posting here has been absolutely brilliant, but I'm running out of the sass / steam to deal with anything else that's happening here, so I'm just going to check out. I'm going to leave the legal business to the lawyers, pray that he didn't give me false information and I can actually find him, and try to remember how much I was looking forward to being a mom before all of this happened. I don't really care if people think it's fake or whatever because I gained exactly nothing, aside from the advice that I needed from making this post, and I gained exactly nothing from arguing. To everyone who shared their stories with me, thank you. Thank you so much. You feel like the dumbest fucking person in the world when this happens to you, and knowing it happens to people all the time is a weird comfort, even when you wouldn't wish it on anybody else. I don't think of myself as a trashy or generally stupid person, just a person who is blinded by love and naivete and has learned a really hard lesson a really hard way. I doubt anything of monumental concern will happen between now and my Monday induction, but once baby is here, I will try to come back and let people know what's happening. Yeah, that's what I was wondering too, Toilet Frog. Did she not see his Facebook? Like, he did cover his bases, but like low-key, I'm like, all right, bro, what are we doing? Like, you didn't internet sleuth this guy? We have an update, April 23rd, 2020, 1 week later. First things first, I had my healthy baby girl on Monday evening. We were discharged shortly after birth due to COVID, so I've been just trying to adjust to everything. Her birth was a dream, and I never want to do it again, LOL. Second, I talked to his wife over an hour yesterday. I guess he decided to tell her. She wasn't mad at me, thank God. She's had her suspicions, but was just trying to trust her husband, which I understand. She was so nice, honestly, and even though she isn't angry at me, I still feel bad because she's such a nice lady. I mean, W wife for not taking it out on the girl that had no fucking clue, which is kind of a theme that we see here quite a bit, so big dubs. She wanted to make sure I was doing okay and that I didn't need anything, which made me cry because postpartum hormones are whack. She's getting a divorce from him, good for her to be honest. We are planning to meet up and talk shit about him once the virus is over. I have a lawyer and will establish custody and child support legally ASAP. He hasn't bothered to contact me at all, but I don't particularly care. I didn't want to leave anyone hanging even though it's not a huge update. Thank you to everyone who checked in. It means a lot. A couple of relevant comments here. Someone asked, out of curiosity, did she reach out to you? Did your ex give her your number? And OP said, he refused, so she went through his phone to find me. She's pretty badass and I love her. I feel like the wife is handling this how like I would want this to be handled if I was in OP's shoes. So like kind of cool. All these stories that we're reading for this video are very much like, may this love never find me. You know, like stay the absolute fuck away from me, bro. Absolutely insane. The wife and OOP should link lesbian bias. You know what? I could ship it. That'd be crazy if they just dropped an update, what, 5 years later? Yeah, so me and the wife got together. I'm assuming the wife is somewhere near, hopefully, the boyfriend's age here. I still don't think it's a good thing. I just think at any age, we shouldn't be encouraging that big of an age gap. At 21, nah. Like, girl, I hope you find someone who's your age. My boyfriend of 10 months flipped out when I wouldn't keep my clothes at his place anymore. We have a 27 female OP, 30 male boyfriend. Original post, January 10th, 2016. I'm looking for some advice with my relationship with my boyfriend. I don't know where to start, and I hope this makes sense. I'm disappointed and hurt by my boyfriend's reaction when I approached him about my concerns. Please know I'm not the petty type, nor do I ignore issues or problems. However, I make every attempt at being civil and calm when I do air any concerns. We each have our own place. A few months back, my boyfriend suggested I could keep some of my personal belongings at his house, i.e. a toothbrush, spare undies, 2 pairs, and PJs, long sleeve and pants. It made it easier in the sense that I didn't have to pack those items for when I stayed over. I stay over every other weekend. However, I've noticed that when I use my PJs or undies, they will stay in the hamper until I sleep over again. The first time I washed our clothes at his place, he said he meant to do them, but forgot. I said no problem. But if you don't want to do them, it's not a big deal. I'll just take my clothes home. He said it wasn't and agreed it's kind of gross to keep clothes around for 2 weeks unwashed. Nothing changed after this conversation, and this continued for a few more weeks. Except I noticed he wasn't washing his clothes either. Yesterday, I became agitated that I was washing both of our dirty clothes every time I'd stay over. My time went from being with him to being with his washer and dryer while he's raiding or gaming with his friends on his PC. Normally, this type of thing wouldn't bother me, but it's 2 weeks worth of his clothing, plus the PJs and undies I wore the last time I was there. I ended up bringing all my clothes home. As soon as he noticed my clothes were missing, he flipped out. He accused me of leaving him. Not the case at all. I waited until he was done yelling and in a soft, calm voice explained to him that I didn't want to leave my clothes there anymore because they were always dirty and I wanted to clean them. Furthermore, it wasn't fair of him to expect me to wash all of his clothes when I'm there. I told him when I come over, I'd like us to hang out, but find it difficult when I'm washing all of his clothes. He went on about having to work all the time. He works 10-hour days, 4 days a week, while I only go to school. I'm in a full-time post-grad program. Then he told me to grow up. He hasn't spoken to me since then. Reddit, I'm at a loss. I really don't need him to wash my clothes. Having them there was supposed to be convenient. Instead, it's frustrating. What is going on? Girl, what's going on is your boyfriend's a man-child. He literally just wants you to do his laundry for him. Shit, bro, I hate to break this to you, but you are home Skilly Vanilli's mommy. Bro has an Oedipus complex, all right? He wants you to mom him, and then he wants to have sex with you. That might have not hit that well, but you know what I'm talking about, okay? Honestly, y'all, maybe I'm a dick, and I haven't been in a relationship in a while, but like, this would be kind of icky to me. I would be like, bro, I know what you're doing. I'm not stupid. You're trying to get me to do your fucking laundry. If a girl did this to me, I would be like, no, that's fucking weird. Be an adult. Do your own laundry. Yo, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm the best laundry doer in the world. You guys know what I mean. But like, by God, every 2 weeks, that's a really long time to not do your laundry. I'll say that. I'm a once a week guy. That way it doesn't get out of control. He would have to do his own laundry if he wouldn't have a girlfriend. Or would he just not do it ever? Exactly. Like, I genuinely think he like is like, oh, girlfriend, that means I have a maid. That's so gross. Like, if I was OP, I'd be even more petty and just clean my clothes. Like, I wouldn't even clean his clothes. My verdict on this, get rid of the boyfriend. To me, y'all, this is just an inside look to how he expects the relationship to be for the rest of the time. He wants you to take care of everything for him. He wants you to cook, clean, take care of his babies while he just sits there and games. He works 4 days a week. He can use one of those 3 days to do his own shit. There is an edit here at the bottom that says, thanks everybody for the replies. I still haven't heard from him. I will update as soon as possible. I just can't believe how much this hurts. I don't have any issues with him gaming. In fact, he's got me into playing Fallout 4. But unlike him, gaming isn't my only interest, and it isn't always my idea for quality time. Anyways, I'm turning in for the night. Thanks again. That doesn't really scream that she like got the point, but sure, fine, whatever. And then we got an update, January 15th, 2016, 5 days later. After 3 days of silence, I decided to call it quits. I tried texting him, but he wouldn't respond. Eventually, I called his cell phone and left him a voicemail explaining how deeply hurt I am that he yelled at me and how I feel even worse now that he wouldn't respond to me. I told him I felt that it was important to me to have an open and honest communication between the two of us, and since I have no idea where he is or what is happening, I assume that we are over. I told him I wished him the best and I hope he could find some happiness, and ended the call. 3 minutes later, my phone rings. It's him. I picked up and he starts bawling about how sorry he is and how he didn't want things to go that far. How all he wanted was to be able to play his games in peace, but realized he also wanted me. He asked me to take him back. I told him that he lost my trust and hurt me over a trivial thing. I told him I needed time to think about what I want. He hung up. So it's over officially. Part of me is really sad, but I know I'll get over it. Right now, I just want to focus on me, and when I do find someone, they will know how to do their laundry. Thanks, Reddit. That's absolutely the move. I mean, also, I didn't even touch on how fucking immature he went about all this. Like, ghosting your girlfriend for 3 days over her just, like, basically saying, I don't want to do your laundry for you. I'm gonna go do it myself at my own apartment. That isn't a ghost your girlfriend and throw a fucking whiny fit about it. That's a, you look at yourself and you go, oh, hey, maybe there's something wrong with me. But that would take self-awareness, and we all know how unself-aware a lot of these people on Reddit are. How did he expect that to play out in his favor too? Which, don't get me wrong, OP didn't really seem like they had the strong will. Like, yo, I really hope if you're getting bamboozled the way that OP was getting absolutely bamboozled, like, you gotta yoink on out of there, bro. If my boyfriend ghosts me for any amount of days, that's not my boyfriend anymore. Exactly, Sammy. Like, that's just not how you handle, unless you guys like say like, hey, we're not gonna talk for a couple of days because of whatever. If they just straight up ghost, that's like, fuck you. Not very demure, very childish. So childish. Especially in what, a 10-month relationship? Yeah, boyfriend of 10 months. Like, as soon as y'all make it official, you can't be fucking ghosting, bro. Oh my God, was he 30? Holy fuck, I totally forgot about that. What an abysmal age to not be doing your laundry, bro, and to be acting like a man-child. My husband's childhood best friend asked me for a favor, then humiliated me in front of her family. I'm done being the bigger person. Originally posted to r/true off my chest. Original post was April 22nd, 2025. I've been sitting on this for a few days, trying to decide if I'm just being dramatic or if I've been letting too much slide for too long. So I, 30 female, have been happily married for a few years now. My husband, 31 male, is honestly a gem. Kind, patient, hilarious, loyal. Basically everything you'd want, which, after having an ex cheat on me with his best friend, is kind of a big deal. The relationship wrecked me for a while, but I worked hard not to drag the wreckage into something new. And my husband? Thankfully, my husband's never given me a single reason to question him until now, question mark. Maybe? I don't know. My husband and I have a great relationship and we're pretty social and often hang out with each other's friends. I get along with almost all of his group and they've honestly made me feel welcome, except for her, his childhood best friend. Let's call her Claire. Claire has always been cold to me. Not outright rude, just subtle enough to make me feel crazy for noticing. You know that kind of vibe? Every time we've been in the same room, she's managed to talk around me, not to me. I tried. I really did. I've smiled, made conversation, been nothing but warm, even when she's given me nothing to work with. She doesn't show up to group hangouts, but she'll invite him over, and he always tells me, to his credit. He never goes without mentioning it, and he's never weird or secretive about her. But it still rubs me the wrong way. I've tried being friendly. I've tried small talk. Hell, I invited her to our birthdays, barbecues, engagement dinner. She bailed on all of them. She skipped our wedding too, and she only ever seems to reach out to him, usually when she's just been dumped and needs to talk. When I brought it up, my husband says I'm overthinking it, that Claire is just a little odd socially. Maybe she is. I know she trusts her husband, but either he is so aloof, it's like a little unattractive. Like, come on, dude, put it together. This ain't rocket science, all right? We all know Claire's got a fucking rock hard dick for you, bro. Either he does understand and he's like not telling his wife that he understands, or like bro is so aloof to a point that like actually kind of makes me mad. Long story short, that was just my way of saying I'm not a fan of this husband. Then a few weeks ago, out of nowhere, she messaged me. She asked if I'd model for her project. Totally unexpected. And I was caught off guard enough to say yes. Part of me thought maybe this is her trying to connect. Maybe this was her olive branch. I even felt a little hopeful. God, I was naive. So I agreed. My husband offered to come with me since he hadn't seen her in a while and thought it'd be fun to catch up after. When we got there, her family was also involved. And from the second I walked in, it was like stepping into some passive-aggressive Twilight Zone. Her mom and sister kept calling my husband our son-in-law. I laugh awkwardly. Think I must have misheard. It only got worse. During the shoot, came more of the snarky comments, jokes about the one that got away and some bonds never fade. Her mom at one point literally said, "We always thought Claire would end up with him, but life has its detours, I guess." And Claire always imagined walking down the aisle with him. And then, "It's sweet of her to fill in though." Oh, come on. I wish I was exaggerating. And Claire just kept snapping pictures, smiling, saying nothing. No, "Hey, cut it out." No awkward laugh, no redirect, nothing. My husband, clearly uncomfortable. I watched him fidget through the whole thing, clear his throat a few times. He tried to change the subject or came nearby me during the shoot. He didn't say much either. He just kind of went quiet. I don't fuck with this husband, bro. They start saying crazy shit like that. You go, "Yeah, but I didn't pick Claire and I never will. Honey, we're leaving." Like, sack the fuck up, bro. That's actually insane to let that disrespect happen. This husband sucks. Like, actual dick. I genuinely believe OP should be more mad at the husband right now than at them. Like, this is an encounter that is like, we are never talking to them ever again. And if your husband doesn't react like that, honestly, red flag. Red goddamn flag. I stuck it out for an hour, let her take her photos, smiled, posed, whatever. But the whole time I felt like I was a part of a social experiment and everyone else was in on the joke but me. When we got in the car, he was silent for a while, then finally said, "Sorry about all that. That was weird, right?" Yeah, no shit, it was weird, bro. And you should have stepped up. And honestly, I didn't even know what to say because, yeah, it was weird. It was borderline disrespectful. And the fact that he was there, saw all of it, clearly felt it too, and didn't step in or pull the plug, it makes me feel kind of alone in this. I'm just tired of pretending the woman is harmless or just awkward. She knows exactly what she's doing. I don't want to start a huge fight, but I'm at the point where I don't want her in our lives. Not as a friend, not as a ghost in the corner of our marriage. No more bending over backwards to be the cool wife. I'm not interested in earning points with someone who clearly doesn't want me around. Anyway, thanks for letting me scream into the void for a minute. I really needed to get this out. Dude, you should start a fight. I'll fucking say it. I don't know. Maybe I'm an asshole for this, but I think you need to be really fucking mad at your husband. And your husband needs to stop being a dumb man. If your best friend is pulling this shit in front of your wife, that's not your best girlfriend anymore. Whatever the fuck they called it in this story. He should just get rid of her without asking. And by God, should OP be asking. Not even asking. Demanding. Screaming, shouting, threatening divorce. Because what the fuck was that? Miss me with this kind of love, y'all. I want a partner who, like, if that ever happened, she would shut it down ASAP Rocky. That is the bare minimum of being in a relationship with someone, is that they stand up for your relationship. It's actually that easy. He's encouraging this behavior by not speaking up. 100%. Being silent is the same as encouraging. That's so insane. I mean, the fact that OP stayed there too, like, girl, anybody shows you that level of disrespect, you fucking tell them to suck a dick and you leave. That's insane, y'all. There is an edit here. They made a clarification that English is not their first language. They're also just clarifying a few things people were asking about. Claire is actually a photography major, and the shoot was part of her final project. I'm not a professional model or anything, but I've done some hobby modeling here and there. So when she asked if I'd help out, I thought it was a casual favor. Why at her house? She comes from a wealthy family and has a fully set up photo studio in their house, which is why the shoot happened there instead of a regular studio. I honestly thought it'd just be her and the camera, not a full audience with drinks and commentary. Additional background, I grew up in a pretty emotionally abusive household, so I think I've gotten too used to passive-aggressive comments and just sort of freeze up. Maybe that's why I didn't react more in the moment, but yeah, it definitely hit harder after the fact. I will update you as soon as possible. A couple of relevant comments that OP replied to, so I'm just gonna read them because I'm guessing we're gonna have some character development here. So one commenter said, "Borderline disrespectful. I'd hate to see what you think is actually disrespectful." OP replied, "Wow, reading your comment and honestly so many others has really helped me see just how not okay that whole situation was. Think I was so used to brushing off this kind of behavior that I didn't even realize how deeply disrespected I was. I grew up in an emotionally abusive household where snide comments and passive aggression were just part of the background noise. So when someone pulls that kind of crap now, I think a part of me automatically minimizes it. Like, oh, I've heard worse. But reading all your reactions kind of snapped me out of that. And yeah, it hurts that my husband didn't shut it down. I've been trying to rationalize it in my head like maybe he didn't want to escalate things because it felt like a trap, or that he is not used to being in these kinds of situations. None of that excuses it though, not even a little bit. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow, really talk. Not brush it off, not laugh it away, just lay it all out, because at this point, I need to know where he stands. Thanks for the reality check. I needed it more than I realized. All right, good shit. Put your whole dick on the table, OP. That's what we want. Okay, and then we have a long update, April 23rd, 2025, about a day after the original post. For those wondering, 1, no, they never dated. He had a high school crush on her over a decade ago. That's ancient history. 2, no, I don't think he's ever cheated, emotionally or physically. He's always very open and honest. We have each other's passwords. 3, they barely see each other anymore in person, maybe once every few months. We live about 2 hours away. Okay, so here's the update. Funny enough, I didn't even get the chance to sit down and talk to my husband before something else happened. I just can't believe my life at the moment. Anyway, I was still trying to process what happened and sort through my anger towards Claire, and honestly, toward my husband too. That's when I got a message from my sister-in-law. We'll call her Madeline. I'm really close with Madeline. She's part of the wider social circle that Claire floats around in. They're friendly, but not close. She sent me a screen recording from Claire's close friend story with a simple WTF. It was a clip of me posing during the shoot, no music, but in the background, you can clearly hear Claire's sister say, Claire should have been the one to marry him. I lost it. I waited until my husband got home from work, sat him down, and showed him the video. He watched it once, then again. His whole face changed. He finally looked pissed. I could not help but think, why didn't he have the same reaction there? Why is the video making you mad? Like, honestly, y'all, Claire could have just posted this video because she's fucking stupid, you know? Y'all ever posted something on your story and you didn't realize the background had some, like, dumb shit that, like, you would have preferred to? I mean, hopefully it wasn't that embarrassing, but, like, y'all, the one that I always think about is, like, I'll be at a concert recording, but also singing, and then I'll post it, and then I'll realize after it's been up for hours that you can hear me shittily singing it in the background. Like, I understand how you can accidentally do something like that. Like, I don't understand why bro is getting mad now. Hey man, the time to get mad was when it was happening right in front of your fucking face. So I laid it all out. I told him everything, every snide comment, every time Claire made me feel small, how I'd always tried to be civil, how I never asked him to choose between us, but I was done being polite while someone consistently disrespected me. I told him, if this doesn't bother you enough to act, we've got a bigger problem. I'm not going to be in a marriage where I have to beg to be defended. I need a partner who stands up for me, and if it's not you, then I need to rethink this. He didn't argue, didn't get defensive, and I know he feels sorry. Hell yeah. That's putting your whole dick on the table right there, chat. Take notes. Pull out the pen and paper. Then I showed him the Reddit post. He tried to read every comment. Some of them made him tear up. When he finished, he looked at me and said he feels like the worst husband. He let this happen right in front of him. He is so sorry and asked me, what do you need from me now? I told him straight up, this isn't just about her anymore. It's about whether or not you're willing to protect this marriage, but I'm not going to feel like I'm second place in my own relationship. So it's either me or her. So we called Claire. She picked up all cheerful, acting like nothing had happened. We brought up the video. She immediately got defensive. Oh, come on. It was just a joke. Are you really mad over that? Seriously? And that's when he stepped in. This isn't just about the video. It's the constant disrespect towards my wife. I didn't say anything before because I didn't want to lose your friendship, and I convinced myself you didn't mean it. But what happened at that shoot, that was disgusting. My wife came to support you, and you and your family treated her like a joke. I didn't speak up then, and I'm ashamed of that. But that ends now. I don't even know why I held on to this friendship for so long. If you can't respect my wife, you don't respect me. She laughed. Literally laughed. Wow, you're really cutting me off over that girl. Oh my God, I was ready to fight, but husband calmed me down, said to Claire, if choosing between you and my wife ever felt like a hard decision, I wouldn't deserve her. We're not kids anymore. You need to grow up. I simply do not want to be your friend anymore. I have nothing else to say. Telling you he can be a gym sometimes. You know what? He's making his way out of the doghouse, but like, bro's still stuck in there in my opinion. He did one thing right because he kind of needed to be told to do so. I don't think we should be giving him any pats on the back, me personally. But yeah, we blocked her and her entire family. Since then, he's been checking in with me, not trying to fix things, just showing up, listening, understanding. He finally sees what I've been dealing with. We've still got some healing to do, but now I know where he stands, and that changes everything for me. And then the obligatory thank you. I mean, I'm glad it ended well, but I'm still fucking mad at the husband, high key. Like, that should just be common sense. Like, we need to have a class like Common Sense in Relationships 101. Hey, if someone's shitting on your wife, whether it's your best friend, her entire family, or some fucking stranger, you stand up for them. Wild, bro. I mean, I get it. OP doesn't sound like they came from a healthy household. So, like, I get it. I'm glad she got there, but holy fuck. Heads up, this story sounds pretty intense. If you need to skip it in the live stream or in the video, this is your notification to do so now. My ex-fiancé injured me by attempting anal sex without preparation or consent. My confession is that I'm so embarrassed to tell people what happened. This includes a 2-year update. Original post in r/true off my chest on September 12th, 2022. We were having vaginal sex and he was behind me. He claims he missed. He used that exact word and got me in the ass twice. No lube, no preparation, and I had not consented to anal. He had been bugging me to do it, but I always said no. The pain was so bad, I fainted the second time in. TMI, y'all. I've never done anal. So TMI, y'all. But I have, like, put my thumb. Y'all can fill in the blanks. From that experience, accidentally, number one, doesn't happen twice. And number two, would be pretty fucking hard to do without lube. Jay just said it in chat. The first time an accident, second time on purpose. Even the first time, though, I think you need to severely be like, I don't know. Everybody's body's different, but I'm just thinking about, like, my experience. And I would have to like try to make that happen. I ended up bleeding and with a huge bruise on my face from where I smacked the headboard when I fainted. I had to be admitted to the hospital. Because of the bruise on my face, everyone thought I ended up in the hospital because he hit me. I have said that isn't what happened, but that just made everyone think I'm covering for him, even though I broke up with him. I'm so embarrassed to tell everyone what really happened, especially my parents and grandparents, but everyone else too. It was embarrassing enough with the medics, doctors, and nurses, and all the exams, and now having to watch what I eat and take stool softening pills for the next bit, or that it hurts me to sit. I wish everyone would drop it and move on, but they all want to know the real story, which I'm too embarrassed to tell. I can't decide if they want to know because they care about her or if they're nosy. I understand being close to your parents or grandparents, but telling them that you were having sex and then the guy tried to do anal twice, I don't think that's something you share with your parents, low-key, or grandparents. Oh my God. Obviously, I do not condone lying, but is there a decent lie that she could tell? Honestly, if I'm in this position, I'm just lying to them, low-key. I understand why OP would not want to share that. That is not something that I would ever share with my parents or grandparents. He put her in the hospital. That's all they need to know. This dude deserves punishment, but I'm wondering if with where OP's at with this, if they told the parents that, or the family members, the friends that, would someone then go to him and like press him? Not saying that he shouldn't be, but it doesn't really sound like OP wants that. She could say it's sexually personal and it's embarrassing. In my head, I'm kind of like, I need more information here on like, can you even tell your parents about sexual things in your life? Like, I'm just thinking of me. I would never tell Kathy about any of this shit. If something happened in my sex life that put me in the hospital, my parents and grandparents are going to the grave never knowing what that is. But I know everybody's relationship with their parents is different. I'm thinking it sounds like some of the family wants to have words with him anyway. I don't disagree with him needing somebody to go like punish him, but also it doesn't sound like OP wants people to have words with the boyfriend. Dude, I love it when somebody should comments in here because like a lot of the time the comments, I think if OP's like chill, they should respect OP's wishes. Like, this is OP's story to tell and story to react to. I feel like we should play off of OP, right? Like, it sounds like OP just wants this to go away. So I'm honestly very pro, and this could be very wrong, but I'm very pro OP constructing a lie that just makes this go away for right now until OP wants to talk about it. Cuddlefish, victims get to choose when, if ever, to talk about it. That's how I feel too. If anything, I'm more just mad that the family can't pick up on social cues. The social cue around, hey, something happened to you, what happened, and that person kind of giving like a response that you know isn't true or is like, hey, I don't want to talk about it. The answer isn't to keep pushing. I understand the family like just caring for OP, but I also do think more people need to be nuanced around like there are certain things that people just don't want to talk about and aren't ready to talk about yet. One commenter said, yeah, that's fucked up. You were right to leave him and you don't need to tell anybody what happened if you don't want to. Whenever someone asks, tell them I'm not discussing this any further and don't discuss it any further. While it is possible to miss, especially in the dark with the emergency exit being so neighborly with the primary promenade, that kind of fumble doesn't involve forcing oneself all the way in, and especially not doing so twice. He almost certainly did it on purpose. I'd consider that R word, and depending on where you live, it may legally be considered as such as well. Another comment said, your choice is to let them think he hit you or tell them he anally sexually assaulted you. You owe them no explanation. Tell them the relationship is over and you are just trying to take care of yourself, that their invasive questions are not helping you in any way. Tell them you can't constantly be asked questions you don't want to answer, and your medical team are the only people who have to know anything. Tell them if they keep pushing, you will end the call, leave the location, and mute their texts until they learn to respect boundaries. I know it's hard to deal with it all, and it does hurt. I hope you heal quickly. I know I mentioned lie is one of the answers. I actually don't think that's a good plan. Like, thinking back on it, I think it's just like, hey, let's practice setting boundaries. Tell them like, hey, I'm not telling you. And that's just how it be. If you ask me, I will leave. I will mute you. I will block you because I don't want to talk about it. And that's fine. Like, all you have to do on the other end of that is say, okay, understand. If you ever want to talk about it though, just know that I'm here to talk about it. And then you never ask again. It's pretty much that simple. So the update was April 20th, 2025, 2.5 years later. I broke up with my fiance because we had a huge fight at the hospital because he blamed me for what happened. Whoa. Okay, that's fucking crazy. How the fuck could that have possibly been OP's fault? Hey man, I don't know if you know this, but when she said it was from behind, right? Yeah, he was behind me. I don't know if you know how that works, but that's all the guy. There is nothing that the girl is doing where she can direct your dick into her ass in a forceful way. That's actually fucking insane. This would have drove me fucking nuts. Now I kind of want somebody to fucking give this man what he deserves. But I was still so ashamed that I didn't tell my family or anyone else the true story about what happened. I only told the hospital staff. Waking up in the hospital was scary, but hospital staff, the police, and the social workers were so kind. Even when I posted here the first time, I was still in denial about what happened. Due to my injuries, the hospital automatically notified the police. The police treated it as domestic violence. Lots of times I read online and on here about people deciding to press charges, but I found out that's a myth. 1, only police can charge someone. And 2, if there's a domestic violence situation, the police do not ask the opinion of the victim, since the victim will often cover for the abuser or try to have the charges dropped. I was not given any choice in him being charged. My ex-fiancé was arrested and he faced 2 charges over what he did to me. Separately from that, he was charged for lying to the police. He was put on a no contact order for me when he got arrested, and he was given bail at first. His bail got canceled after a few months. It is a standard condition for everyone on bail to give their passport to the police. He had told the police he didn't have a passport, but then they found out he had plane tickets for a relative's wedding over in the United States, which required a passport since it is international travel. He thought it wasn't a big deal because he bought a return ticket too, but since he was not allowed to leave the country and he had told the police he didn't have a passport when he was asked to surrender it, his bail was canceled. He received a 4th charge over the passport incident. I haven't seen him since we broke up, except for when I testified in court. The police and a social worker kept me up to date about his bail and everything else. I have not had any contact from him since our argument in the hospital. Wow, rare W where the police actually do their job and don't need to be hounded to do so. That's crazy. Honestly, let's fucking go. This is how it should be. Good fucking shit. I'm glad this dude got shit on. And I'm also glad he got like extra shit on because he's a fucking dumbass. Hey man, if they ask for your passport, they're probably fucking serious about it. He was convicted on all charges he faced, so he has a criminal record and is also a sex offender. I won't lie about how testifying in court was the worst day of my life besides the night he hurt me. I wasn't even sure I wanted to testify, but I was legally required to. So at the end of the day, I faced this. Our neighbors called for an ambulance because of the commotion, and so a lot of people... Oh, wow. Our neighbors called for an ambulance because of the commotion, and so a lot of people on our street saw me naked. I saw one of my neighbors at court. It was really humiliating to have to talk about everything in front of so many strangers, but I'm doing much better now. Holy shit. The neighbors calling an ambulance because of commotion. Like, dude, there's no way that was an accident. That's actually so fucking crazy. God, just disgusting, bro. I enrolled in university and I've started making friends. I've been seeing a counselor since I was released from the hospital. Most of the time, I'm not embarrassed that my family and friends know what happened to me. I'll forever appreciate the kind comments I got here when I'm still too much in denial over what happened. None of you have any idea how much your kindness means. Thank you to everyone who posted to support me, even though I was obviously still in denial back then. It's just like so easy not to do shit like this. I just don't understand it. Like I said, I've never tried anal, but like to me, it doesn't seem so fucking appealing that I have to go against my partner's consent to do it. I don't get it, y'all. I will never understand the cruelty of men. I know I get some fucking incels in my comments like, the misandry is so fucking crazy from Sarby. He literally hates himself and men. Yeah, I do. I really do. You read shit like this and you see all the shit that those motherfuckers are saying online and like, bro, I'm sorry, but if you don't hate men, you are just wrong. The general stereotype of men right now is just abysmal. That's just disgusting behavior. Really weird things are happening to me. Not sure if it's an elaborate prank or if I'm seriously mentally ill. We have a 22 female OP. Original post is from November 24th, 2015. Okay. I've never, ever felt the need to post here, but I feel like I'm losing my mind. I don't even know where to start. My mind is so jumbled. I guess it started 2 weeks ago at work. I work in a factory, but I don't do the labor. I'm more of a spreadsheet maker / book balancer / secretary type thing. Really informal, but it's my uncle's company and I needed a job, yada yada, good pay. I was sitting at my desk with nothing to do, and I hear my boss, not my uncle, just another coworker and a friend of his, go, "Phil sighs as he looks at the weather." I look up like, huh? And he looks at me like, huh? He didn't say anything. I was like, that's weird, but oh well. Anyway, and then the next day I was talking to some coworkers on the floor, asking them work stuff, and one of them called me a bitch, but when I called him out, him and everyone else looked at me like I was insane. I apologized and we all laughed it off. Factory is loud, right? People mishear things all the time. Except I was at Walmart. I know, class. And one of the workers there was putting away stock. And I swear to God, he looked straight at me and said, "The chicken was just killed." But I asked him what he meant, and I felt so bad because he looked so confused. And like I was crazy. He hadn't even opened his mouth apparently. Shit like this has been happening so much, and my friend even pulled me aside to ask if I was feeling okay. Small things are happening too. My boyfriend says he's making salmon for dinner. I hear him preparing salmon. I smell salmon. Then he brings it out and it's lasagna. I asked him where the salmon was, and he was like, "What?" I said lasagna tonight, and brushed it off like I'm being silly. I could have sworn this one shirt I owned was green and not teal. Shit is changing and people are saying stuff, but they're not. People are narrating their lives sometimes. There's no way my friends could be pranking me. Not when random people on the street are doing this too. I'm so scared. I don't want to be thrown into a mental hospital. Not trying to offend mentally ill people. I'm just so scared. I feel like my mind is slowly melting. Y'all, I have no clue what this is, but a bunch of people in chat are saying brain tumor? Is that a thing? My brain is like, this is way above Reddit's pay grade. You need to go get help ASAP Rocky. This is so totally not chill, girl. I want to specify too, there's absolutely no way this is a prank. Either you're losing it and you have like schizophrenia or something, or what chat's saying with the whole brain tumor thing. Sounds like a horror movie. Yes, 100%. That is so scary, y'all. Like when reality isn't reality for you, I think that's when you gotta fucking hang up the skates. She should go to the hospital ASAP. That's what I'm thinking, bro. There's no way that there's not something, whether physically or mentally, wrong with her. Maybe if it was like just your coworkers or just your boyfriend, but boyfriend, coworkers, and strangers, there's something going on. Hopefully it's not brain tumor. Although as hard as it would be to operate on that, that would be the most like, if it's just a brain tumor, you could get it out type beat. Versus like, I think if she had like schizophrenia or like psychosis, I feel like that'd be a little bit harder. I guess you could get medicated for it, but I don't know. Commenter, you should go to the doctor, not just because there might be a physical or mental issue going on that needs to be addressed, but also so you can get an answer of what is going on. Don't keep yourself in limbo. That will drive you insane. Doctors aren't your enemy, and even if there's a mental issue going on, that doesn't automatically mean you get thrown into a mental hospital just like that. You've probably been around more people with mental disorders than you realize, and the vast majority of them can live a relatively normal life and live independently with some medical or psychiatric help. Go to the doctor. They're the professionals here. OOP replied, "Thank you. I'm in Canada and I made an appointment with my doctor. It'll be a week before I see her though. I can't believe how much this blew up. It happened again last night. Boyfriend said he was going to the bar. I shower and come out and ask why he's still here. OP's boyfriend, because I live here? OP, I thought you were going to the bar. OP's boyfriend, no. Maybe I'll go to the ER if it keeps happening. Honestly, I would just go to the ER, bro. This would drive me fucking nuts. There's no way I'm waiting for an appointment, and then on top of that, that appointment isn't actually gonna get you answers right away. I would just say fuck it and go to the ER. This commenter replied, not to terrify OP, but this happened to my mother as well, and it was a brain tumor for her. This seriously calls for a doctor as soon as possible. Another person said, yep, sounds pretty similar to a friend. Go get it checked. It's scary, but my friend, she's doing a whole lot better now. Yeah, I feel like that's something where like you don't want to wait because every second counts. We have 2 updates on this chat. Wow, one of them is literally a brand new update from 2025. Okay, I'm excited. Update November 29th, 2015, 5 days later. Wow, I never could have ever in my wildest imagination known that my last post would get this much attention. I was on my boyfriend's Reddit account on his phone and actually saw my own post near the first page. I was floored. Then he saw what I was looking at and we had a pretty awkward conversation. Basically asked me why I posted something like that. He'd read it, but only when he saw me on the page, it clicked that he saw the same username on my laptop on Reddit. He never imagined it was me. I did change some details about my life in the last post. So we talked for a long time, and finally he said that he was taking me to the emergency room. I didn't want to go. I just wanted to wait for my appointment, not because I didn't think it was serious, but because I had no clue how to explain what was happening to the doctors and the nurses, especially for it to warrant an emergency visit. No. Hold on. Boyfriend is definitely cooking. I agree with homeboy. This is not something you wait around for a week. Literally show them this Reddit post, honestly. Like, I think that's how you explain it. So we went and he was very understanding, just asked me how much I remembered from the past couple of days, stuff he said and stuff I'd apparently heard. We were both scared, ha ha ha. I got to the emergency room, very slow. I live in a smallish town, but we have a giant hospital for some reason. We're close to a lot of other towns, and they use our hospital, close to Toronto too. Anyway, it was slow, just one father and a sick child. I went in and basically had to explain what was happening, and honestly, the nurses were like, what the fuck? This bitch is crazy. But when I saw a doctor, he took me very, very seriously. It was very nice. He wrote down basically everything I said. I got some x-rays, and they asked me questions, you know, the whole spiel. Anyways, the point of this update was to tell you guys that I have a tumor. That's really scary writing out, but I have a tumor in my brain. It hasn't sunken in yet that tomorrow my brain is going to be under the knife. I don't want to share more because I've gotten a lot of messages from people who are like guessing my name and where I'm from. Apparently, I remind people of their friends or crazy exes. I'm scared to miss work, but my boss was more than understanding. He sort of looked at me like I was insane when I asked how long I should be out of work. I don't know. I need to pay rent. We'll figure it out. Thank you all for your love and support. I will update whenever I remember to. I am scared, but alive. That's so crazy to update 10 years later. I'll update you guys whenever I remember. You didn't remember for 10 years? That's so funny. I mean, I get it. I totally get it. If I was literally getting a surgery on my brain, my first thoughts after that surgery would not be, let me update Reddit, but like, damn, let's read the rest of it because holy shit. Update April 18th, 2025. Am I allowed to make an update here? I don't use social media much anymore, and Reddit looks completely different than the last time I logged in. My friend sent me this basically immediately after it was posted, asking if it was me. It was so long ago, I kind of cringed seeing how I wrote, but I'll give myself some slack because I was young and going through a terrible time. That boyfriend didn't last long. He bailed when we found out how... Whoa. That boyfriend didn't last long. He bailed when he found out how long my recovery would be and what it entailed. I moved back in with my family who are all nurses and caregivers, so it was really the smoothest recovery I could have had. Damn, boyfriend went from W to L so fucking fast? Like, he was like, Dub, let's push this and bring you to the emergency room. And then he was like, L, you know what? Fuck it, chicken strips, I'm out. That's sad. I did years of therapy, both physical and mental. I did eventually end up losing my factory job, but that honestly wasn't their fault. Admittedly, I no-showed to work a lot and was spiraling for a few years, but I eventually landed on my feet, found my dream man, in parentheses, lumberjack type. Sorry for being a Canadian stereotype. And his mother had gone through almost the same thing I did when she was younger, so we really bonded over that. I won't say I'm having a perfect time. Life is life. I'm child-free, have a job I tolerate, have money to spend on my friends and family, and am generally very happy. I keep off social media because I already survived a brain tumor. I'm not looking for more. And for Americans who are going to ask, yes, it was free. Must be fucking nice. I mean, not the brain tumor part, but the free healthcare. You guys know what I meant. All right, well, I'm glad it worked out for OP. I wish they would have gone more into like what their recovery entailed, just because I'm like kind of curious of what that recovery even looks like. Or if it's the same, like does everybody who has a brain tumor removed have to go through like the same level of recovery, or does it kind of just depend how your brain heals, you know? That's fucking crazy, chat. Wow. Just wow. All right, well, if you start hallucinating some shit that people are saying, it's probably a brain tumor. The more you know, I guess. Damn.